Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 106. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me in SideQuest Studios today is Clare RR.
Hi, Elliot.
Danny Rosewell.
I'm Danny Rosewell.
Jordan Frost.
I'm the other half of Danny Rosewell.
And here as always, except when he's not, BT Calloway.
Or am I just a figment of your imagination that only appears when you don't have the self-esteem to carry your way through? So when I'm not here, that's when you're doing your best.
Well, I see you a lot, though.
I have
Oh,
boogeyman rules. If you put your head under the blanket, I disappear.
And then if you really want to accuse them, you throw a blanket on them, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you might be confused of what the fuck is going on, because so am I. So let me ride this train right now. God damn it.
We're doing really badly today.
Yes, we are. But joining us today for the Simpsons Index. This is the podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. And how are we feeling today after that episode that we watched from a recent decade?
Well, which episode was this, Elliot J. O'Neill?
Nice setup. This was season 27, episode 8, Paths of Glory. First released in December of 2015, directed by Stephen Dean Moore, written by Michael Ferris, who co-wrote The Net,
Oh, wow.
The Game,
Surprise!
And the game.
The Game,
Yeah.
and Catwoman.
Okay.
The Halle Berry one?
Is there any other?
Maybe an animated one. I don't know.
In this episode, everyone starts being a piece of shit to Lisa, and she finds out that there was a female scientist inventor, and she seeks to bring out her work to light. And in the B story, Marge and Homer think Bart's a sociopath, and they send him to a mental institution. So, I don't know, fucking guys, what'd you think?
I drew fire on my page.
Ooh.
I set fire to my page.
Billy sets fire to a bunch of boxcars.
Yeah. It was just a really all over the place kind of episode, which they tried to bring together at the end.
I can't believe this came from the writer of Catwoman.
I know.
I can believe this is from the writer of The Game and The Net and streetcar named video games.
So let's get into the questionnaire and get into this fucking fuck. BT, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
What I'm going to go with here is, this whole Lisa begins to investigate this female inventor that lived in Springfield thing, gets kicked off, and they find a video on YouTube of her only invention, which kills someone, and she ends up in a mental institution. It's like, good. I'm sorry, but that's the only bit of information we have about this person. If it was a mistake, and mistakes happens in science, that'd be one thing. Or if it was, she invented something that was too ahead of its time, and they're like, oh, this woman can't possibly understand what she's talking about. Put her in the insane asylum. That would have been fine. But they didn't do that. They had, here's the one thing she's known for, which murdered a man, so of course she's in an insane asylum.
She jumps straight to testing on humans as well.
Yeah.
No, watermelon test?
She's not good at it. Fine, that's all right. I mean, Edison murdered elephants for shits and giggles. But, it's just, it's such a...
autopsy at my autopsy.
Yeah, Bob's Burger's good. But it's like, this is the only information we have on this person that she's immediately decided she needs to clear the name of to validate herself, even though she didn't even know who she was at the beginning of the episode.
Which is unlike Lisa. She's so up to the minute with everything, and Lisa's never heard of her. I mean, I know it was just for the episode, but it was not set up correctly, and I agree she did look like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And then Lisa puts such a high premium on her straight away.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the only female inventor in Springfield. If I can prove that she's worthwhile, then all women everywhere are worthwhile. It's like, why? There are so many other things you could pick right now other than someone you've never heard of.
She could have justified her own inventions.
Yeah.
How about you, Claire? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
It's a really small little blip on the radar of how terrible everything else was. But when Bart and Lisa have broken into the mental asylum, they've found the voice recording of
The old wax
Amelia,
cylinder.
whatever. And so she's going around saying, so plot exposition-y. It was just a recording basically going, I've had a helpful guard record my voice so that some plucky young woman in the future can come and help me and clear my name. Firstly, gross. But also, the part that really pissed me off is that the last bit of that recording was, and if Nikola Tesla says that he broke up with me, I broke up with him, which totally undermines any sort of pro-feminist message by making this all about
Women and dating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was just I expected it from The Simpsons, which is really sad, undermining the message, whatever that is that they're trying to portray now.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be a woman in science without also being a gossipy bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, their whole handling of like trying to tell a pro-feminist story in this episode, like they just
I don't
fucking
know if
bungled
they
it.
even are. Like, I don't know if they're actually... Or maybe they think they were, but they could have asked a woman what they thought.
And I think the problem is, this is my understanding of what they were trying to do. They were trying to poke fun at how people just still don't give a shit about the feminist movement, about what women achieve. They're still being undermined. But they did it in such a way where it was like, yeah, well, why should we care? You know, look how dumb this is. Like, what's it going to change if we find out that some lady from hundreds of years ago actually did something useful for a change? Like, that's the feeling I get from it. It's not actually going, this is a really terrible thing that happens. It still gets dismissed. It was actually like, well, who cares? Just shut up about it.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you could do that same ending, but have it be, it doesn't matter how you change history because most people don't care about academia. And that would have been, a jab at society and stuff like that, rather than just like what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Danny? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
The bit where, like, she's going to lift Amelia to the ranks of other female citizens, like Marie Curie and other scientists.
Oh, Velma from Scooby-Doo.
Velma from
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo, yeah.
That felt really cheap.
Why Chalmers as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how aggressive to Lisa Chalmers is in this bit.
My moment that stood out to me was definitely the hot babe from Knockers that let them into the basement
Yep.
and then turned out to be Willie in
Oh,
disguise.
no.
That was very strange
Yeah.
and very sudden twist, and I kind of liked it.
It was certainly unexpected.
Yeah, it was certainly unexpected. There you go. That's good enough for me.
I liked how Willie kept the fishnets on while he
yeah.
was doing the jackhammering. I think he's got the legs to rock him.
I like how it was his voice straight away. He didn't do a girly voice.
No.
So presumably the whole shift he's been talking in the Willie voice, but looking like a teen cheerleader.
It was weird, but I mean, I guess it makes sense with Willie. We've heard before how, in Scottish wars, they'd like wear formal ball gowns and.
All sequined evening gowns.
Yeah.
That's right.
Blind you out of me with
With luxury.
that's it, with luxury.
Yeah, that was an interesting twist, but I mean, yeah, also it was so exposition-y. Like you're saying, Claire, this episode is full of exposition-y moments. Yeah, in that same moment, the whole like hitting the hot sauce pipe and hitting the blue cheese
cheese
pipe.
dressing.
I'll just have to hit the blue cheese pipe to counteract that. Bing.
Yeah, these are the jokes that, like, in retelling, it's just like, because that was just such a slog to get through. How about you, Jordan? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
For me, it was a thing that they did multiple times. Bart just being annoying in the background for multiple scenes. So the first one where Lisa is just looking up on Wikipedia about Amelia Vanderbuckle, he comes up and does like a Kilroy on the desk with his nose sticking on, and he's putting the ants into like a Malibu Stacy doll, and then later in the asylum, he's just doing shtick. He's hanging from the roof from the thing, like, oh look, I'm in a straitjacket. How many magicians were in this thing? And he just kept coming up and just doing things. And I think they thought they needed to make Bart do something funny in every scene to like take away from the seriousness or something.
And that's so different from the old Bart and Lisa investigate something episodes. They've just forgotten how good those were. Like, those are some of the best episodes.
Yeah, 'cause for a minute I'm like, okay, or at least we're going to investigate an abandoned asylum. That could be some fun. And
It felt like they'd written their episode, then watched it back and thought, this scene is boring. How can we spice it up a little? Let's just rustify it by 5%, you know?
add attitude.
But again, exposition-y to be like, Lisa, I have some exposition, but here's something wacky I'm doing. Lisa, more exposition that I've discovered. Here's another wacky thing. I'm chewing on an old electric chair mouthguard thing now.
Oh, yeah.
But even then, in that bit where she does get to the records and pulls it down as going through Vanderbuckle, and it's like, okay, Amy, Alessandra, and it's like, okay, I guess
Allspice.
Allspice, and it's like, okay, because they're actually taking the moment to have her go through the files. I'm like, okay, her file's not going to be there, and it's going to be a continuation of the mystery. No, it's there. It's like, so why did we stop and listen to her list all these other Vanderbuckles?
My note for that section was Vanderblah.
Yeah, pretty. I was just like, because I legitimately assumed the file was going to be there, and that would continue the mystery, and we would go to another location, it'd be this whole tracking the thing down. But I was like, let's just stretch this out with not even a joke. It's like it just has Allspice buckle.
Then they don't end scene. He gets distracted with someone else's journal before they find hers, and then suddenly it's the next day.
Yeah.
What kind of shit writing is this?
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Because, hey, this... no, we'll get on with the questionnaire.
The moment to me that stood out was this whole Bart is a sociopath story, and it's just so fucking half-baked.
Yeah.
It was kind of a funny bit that Bart pulled out all the pages and then threw out the cover, but then that was the reason that Chief Wiggum thought he was a sociopath, and then Homer and Marge just immediately Bart's written in cursive. That's weird. Oh, well, that's definitely him.
On paper from like the 1800s.
Yeah.
They could have just had Ralph going home, being really upset. I mean, Bart showed us his journal and he wants to kill people and he's already hurt people. That's fine. That would have been more than enough. They didn't need to actually show the journal pages.
Yeah, because then you have 3 adults who don't understand that this could not possibly be his journal.
I mean, they even read a little excerpt of it, right? Where it mentions he pushed a vagabond under a trolley. Come on, man. Whose writing is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Not only just cursive, right? That's the least of the problems.
Hey, Bart knows cursive. He knows hell, damn.
All right, so play count. How many times before today have you seen this episode?
I have not seen it before today.
Neither.
Like 79. 79. I'm going with none. I'm sorry.
Yeah, never before. And never again.
I've seen it Vander once.
Vander Buckley's a nun. There we go.
So how about some of the wacky parts of this episode?
Ooh, Groundskeeper Willie.
You had your moment.
I had Homer just has open bottles and cans of beer in his jacket.
Kind of like this is a visual joke that he's like...
You know what's really wacky about it is that Homer can afford a Burberry coat. Those things are fucking pricey.
No, he's a fake, obviously. Anyway, Marge says, Homer, I've got to tell you something. You might want to have a drink. I'm already way ahead of you. And he pulls out the thing. And he goes, Bart, maybe a sociopath or something. He goes, oh, you might need a bigger drink. And he pulls out a bottle. But a bottle is 330 mils usually, and a can is 375. So we should have done it the other way around.
Whoa. Jordan Taylor corner!
Maybe there was more left in the bottle than there was in the can.
Quite possibly. But he pulled it out as if to say, I need a bigger drink.
No,
fuck off.
I think it was funny just to leave it, you might need a drink, way ahead of you. I don't would have just left it as the line.
So what are some other wacky moments from this episode?
Okay, Ralph's go-kart at the beginning is powered by potatoes, but it's just Hans Moleman.
Fucking hell.
Hans Moleman is a peanut. He is not a potato.
Looks like a potato, tastes like a peanut.
And then Ralph's a real bitch to him. He's like, I told you I'm not a potato. Shut the fuck up, hash brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
Can't believe Ralph dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny cleaned that language up a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Shut the fuck up, hash brown.
Oh, you are so the superior James Old Ralph.
James L. Ralph.
But yeah, this whole opening bit with the car race as well. And
there's so much to hack at here.
yeah, so this is probably where a lot of the wackiness of this episode comes from.
The Powered by Prayer go-kart from Rod and Todd, I almost liked, but
it didn't work, so it's not wacky.
But it had Helen Lovejoy there going, oh, this never works.
That's the problem.
If it had just been sitting there, I would have got a chuckle out of it.
Yeah. Because there was another one I liked with Sherry and Terry with the skipping rope, and there's just no physical way that works. And so it's a funny visual to see.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if they'd lead into the wacky races element of it and had really strange things instead of just kind of... Yeah, exactly. That's a great Muttley.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was weird for Helen to say that never works about prayer, considering, her stance on religion, but that's fine, whatever. What I didn't like, was the aftermath of the race.
What, where everyone's piling on Lisa?
Everyone is just talking shit, and it's weird. They're making Ivy League jokes, which to anyone outside of American university culture, I think makes no sense. Maybe you can get into Bates or something, which is okay,
but
cool.
I didn't mind everyone jumping in on Lisa. That's not a bad plot point to be, oh, she failed because she's a girl. That's fine as a plot point. But like you said, they took it to a really weird and specific place. They could have just had the kids going oh, you tried your best, but you're a girl. You're never going to be as good as us or something. Something basic.
Someone just go, racing is a man's game.
She didn't fail for any womanly reason. Her sex didn't make her any
yeah, that was the point, though.
I know, but she was first the whole way until right at the end, and then suddenly everyone's laughing at her.
Well, maybe it could have even been a good-natured thing from Homer to be it's all right, honey. Car racing is hard for girls,
Yeah, something that was meant to be encouragement was undermining her anyway.
Or kid teasing, regular kid teasing, not high-level university.
Oh, these
mocking.
Ivy League mistakes you'll certainly make because you're a woman.
My problem with this section, though, is that it was just character after character after
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
piling on. And it wasn't like it was just the other contestants. No, it was
None of those
fucking
nerds were in
everybody.
the scene.
The worst, I think, part was Martin, actually, because it felt like partially a dig at solar power, for one. But she said, I should have had charge. And he comes up and he says, oh, you skimped on the cadmium or something, like a girl. And you're like, what the fuck, Martin? You could have just said superior, like, oh, well, you didn't use cadmium batteries. Is it a lithium or something? Like, why make it that joke?
What's really dumb, though, is that before the race, Lisa's sitting there in a solar-powered car, and Homer comes to wish her good luck, and he blocks the sun. She's like, no, you can't get in my sunlight. It's going to destroy me completely. And then later on, when it destroys her completely, she's surprised.
Yeah.
So-
How did this happen? I'm supposed to be prepared for every scenario.
Yeah, except the one that I already mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like that Martin had a air-powered car, but his tent said like mushroom power.
Yep.
That felt weird to me.
Yeah, I was very confused.
Yeah, it was bad staging right
yeah,
there.
supposed to be an unrelated sign, I guess.
I think all the tents were in the background because there was one that was like about petroleum or something, greening the Arctic as well. Yeah,
That's an alright joke, actually.
yeah, which had like a big like leaf sticking out of the iceberg, and yeah.
Oh shit.
Um,
That's dark.
I was going to say the weird meta intermission where Homer goes, "Oh, it's time to break up the label maker," and prints a short time later. ...
I liked that.
Yeah, it was just
That would
weird.
be
But it was
okay.
wacky.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand the tap dancing nonsense.
Yeah.
And then how,
Yes.
like, the setup for it. Like,
Ralphie, it's time for tap class. And now that way they can have Wiggum do a bunch of tap dancing jokes. Like,
yeah, exactly. If they just kept it as, oh, it's time for daddy, son, tap class, like, that's fine. One line joke,
But he
whatever.
kept going,
just
tap class.
Tap class.
and shuffling away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, he sounded like an impression of himself. He was
Yeah.
not on, and he was way too slow and low. That's the tempo. Slow
and
low.
the other wacky part of the episode, I guess, Bart going to the insane asylum. What'd you guys think of that?
I mean, Bart getting into a bouncy house, and then that bouncy house being trailed into an insane asylum where there were a row of other people who have brought their kids in via bouncy house.
I didn't mind that. Actually, like, as a sort of a joke, if they had skipped all the middle part, so Bart lies on his test, right? Really, he didn't have to lie. He's pretty sociopathic. But Bart lies on his test. They get really nervous. And so they, let's have a birthday party, honey, you know? Like, if they just cut out all that middle bit where he actually acts like a complete nutcase, like, that would have been fine because he would have just been, I lied on my test and now you've instantly put me into an asylum and I'm feeling really shitty with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing. He said he only had to change 3 answers.
The 3 answers that he said, I am a nutcase. I do like hurting people. I do feel like hurting myself.
Yeah.
Surely those aren't.
Those are not Bart's
Daniel's
usual
in the
behavior.
corner. Daniel's there.
It didn't make any sense. Nothing about that scene made sense. And then Bart went on to prove that he basically is a sociopath by just mistreating everyone completely. He wasn't even that mad about the test like being given to him.
Tell it,
you know?
sister.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had one more anal corner.
Yeah.
Surely it was more time consuming and expensive to make a fake cake out of wood than it is to buy a real cake.
Ah.
Cakes are pretty pricey though.
Yeah, but so's like decent balsa wood.
Also, when you go to ice,
It didn't need to be
painted
decent, though.
ice wood.
Yeah, Bart's not
And-
that smart.
Let's just get plywood. It's fine. The whole montage as well, a musical moment from this episode. This was set to the tune of Crazy Train by Ostrich Osborne.
How original. Not your joke, they're using Crazy Train.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
still a groovy song. So.
yeah.
I feel like it was just a song that had crazy in the title.
Yeah.
I mean, they even used the line where it's like, learn to love and forget to hate. That's
Yeah.
not like sociopath behavior. That was like the middle line of that verse.
They often do this, where it feels like that they just opened like iTunes browser, search
Type in
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, they should
The
have used
best
Niles
time that-
Barkley. Yeah.
The best time that song was ever used was in Megamind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the best
Such a
time
good
it was
movie.
ever used was Daniel Rosewell's recital.
It was pretty
Aw.
Suck up.
No, dude, that was mad. And you and Hal, and was Vernon on that one as well with the 3 guitars? And
Might have been, yeah.
yeah, that was sick.
We'll have links in the comment section.
good. Yeah.
So yeah, during the montage scene, the thing with him acting up at dinner is sort of, okay, you get that. He's got something to gain from the situation, to get ice cream. But
Yeah.
then the driving section where he smashes into Skinner's car and
Yeah. It was weird that Lisa was just fine with Bart driving.
She
'Cause
did go
she-
from a smile to a confused and concerned face.
She was blank. That was the thing. There was no thing no scene where Marge and Homer explain to Lisa, look, we're trying to be really nice to Bart because we think he's a little crazy, because she would be the one to understand it because she's the smart one.
That would have even given like them a common, dual story thing to be going from. That Lisa's trying to vindicate, is that the word I'm looking for? Someone who history looks down upon versus her brother, who she might consider to be brilliant in his own way, but is being mislabeled as well. Just fucking missed opportunity, writer of Catwoman.
I think it sucked, though, that Marge and Homer think that their son is a sociopath, don't try and get any help. They just go, well, just let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And then when they get tired of that, they just put him into a sane asylum.
Isn't your first thing to call the hospital police? The
Something.
hospital police?
Like, commit him immediately.
Hospital
or
police.
whatever. I don't know. Something. Not just let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, so the last bit of wacky I want to mention as well before we move on is this whole drone simulation thing. How do you think that played out?
Dumb as fuck.
So overdone, man.
Really dumb.
Really
'Cause
uncomfortable as well. Like, I mean, I know they undermined it at the end, but when they basically put the kids in the simulator, made them like shoot up a bunch of stuff, and then they were like, by the way, that was not a simulation. I'm like, did they just make Bart full on kill people?
They totally did.
Yeah, as soon as I saw those drones, I'm like, are they going to end his game this?
They're going to end his game.
I literally wrote down, did they just end his game this?
I wrote, they end his game it.
Go see Ender's Game now in the bargain bin, I'm sure.
In
Probably.
the library.
To the library. So, how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
No.
No, it was all taken up with whack.
And at the end, again, it's like The Simpsons doesn't care about its own show anymore. This is all I feel when I watch the recent episodes. Like at the end where they all, Bart came home and hugged Marge and Homer, and they were like fake crying. They weren't even animating any tears, you know? I'm like, mm-hmm. And then Lisa comes in crying for some reason.
Yeah, she was crying, but she was like, actually, she should be really proud. Why is she crying? I'm not sure.
Then you got Grandpa, and, I just saw Maggie have her first strawberry. Oh, my
Because they wanted to do the hug.
They wanted to do the big hug at the end.
Big hug bit. Doesn't matter how we get there.
And they did not earn the big hug.
No, they did not. They earned nothing.
Guts to earn it.
Marge was like, it's been such a big day.
No, what drove me crazy about that is Bart comes home and he's like, oh, Mom, Dad, I'm not really crazy. I've just been being mean. And it's like, oh, everything's like, they still think he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
They have no reason not to think
Right.
That was my point.
They weren't contacted by the asylum to let them know. There was no certificate saying, no, he's actually fine. There was nothing whatsoever.
Yeah.
It really just seemed like he just broke out of asylum.
Yeah, and they just flip back immediately. Oh, we welcome you home, son, even though we days ago put you in an asylum because we were scared of you.
It was like he said, I just made bad decisions. But I'm like, yeah, but you still only had to change 3 things on your test. You're still a pretty bad person.
You still loaded a barbecue into a hammock like a slingshot and threw it at another
And
house.
said Cowabunga?
Cowabunga.
That alone is worth incarceration. Cowabunga, come on.
So the other potential heart moment that I think they miffed in this episode was Lisa. Yeah, when she is vindicating the work of Amelia Vanderbuckle and she brings up the loom thing, like, it was fine enough, but it also felt like really clunky.
Yeah.
Like, then the way, like, she showed how it does math, she didn't show the audience that was the sum that she was feeding into the machine.
Yeah, she just pushed cards into the slot and then was like, and it's got an answer.
Yeah.
It says a number now.
And I also feel like the writers were still trying to basically undermine their own feminist story there.
Yeah.
They were so busy animating everybody is super bored,
Oh, they kept cutting back to that 4 bored men every single time. And it was the same shot 4 times.
It was really, really aggravating. Like, it was just a disappointing episode. That's what my last point that I've written down is depressing. This whole episode is just really depressing because it shows how Marge and Homer have no idea how to look after Bart. Nobody gives a shit about Lisa. Nobody gives a shit about women in Springfield.
Yeah.
It's just a really sad episode.
Yeah.
I think it's brought us all down because we all came into this room like,
This again.
The other little bit of the whole calculum. Excuse me. I just came up with that just then.
Good.
Yeah.
Is that
Congratulations.
I still feel like
It's a little stitched together, but I like it.
Hey! Was that? I still think it's a bit shit that it had to be a loom.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
It had to be like a predominantly female thing. It couldn't be just she just created the world's first calculator, actually, like before any pre-known whatever. It has to be something that, like, the only thing else it could have been would have been, like, you know, a steam-powered dishwashing machine or something like that.
She has a clothes iron that solves cancer or something.
But you know what? They could have set it up. If they wanted it to be a loom, that's actually not a horrible thing for her to have taken, you know, an object that as a woman she would have had to use in her daily life and made it
you could make
into something you
empowered.
could, yeah. And so if they had, for example, instead of turned her crazy, you know, because she beheaded somebody, like they just said she wanted to be an inventor, but her arranged marriage and her husband didn't let her go to university, and the only thing she's ever invented was this failed whatever it was.
No, have it be a failed loom, and it's just they didn't know how it worked.
Yeah.
And they locked her up before she got a chance to explain what it did. She's like, no, the loom tells math.
And
they're
then
dragging her
Lisa
away.
found the little boards that go into it or something.
Which was the main
Yes.
thing. See, immediately better episode.
Okay, well, I actually have a question about it, right? Because she said, oh, you'll find my journal, which has the thing, right?
I hate that.
Is it the fact that the journal shows the location of where the invention is hidden? Or is this how to build the invention? Was it already done? Like, they didn't explain
It's a journal
that.
she wrote once she was already imprisoned in the asylum. She couldn't have built the loom in the asylum.
Agreed. I
and
think
then
it was
written a
something that
journal
Lisa
about
had
where-
to make.
But I think that would have been better to say, like, they've stuck me in the laundry room or something like that, so I've created this.
Yeah, so I had to
laundry
apply
equipment.
from the
Yeah.
stuff I had around. Yeah.
Fucking half an hour of workshopping. Jesus Christ.
With 5 unqualified idiots, and we've come up with
Hey,
a
I'm
better
a very
And
episode.
a
qualified
fool for an
idiot.
assistant. This isn't Oak. Black
So-
books, guys.
So ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
No.
No.
I thought when I first saw the loom that it was almost they were doing Wanted, the movie,
No.
with the loom that can tell the future and who
Nope.
needs to get killed.
That movie sucks.
Yeah. But no,
So
not
it felt-
The Simpsons. No.
All right, so what you're saying is it felt closer to the movie Wanted, yeah?
I'd kind of like to say that it sort of almost did feel like a Simpsons episode. I don't think it felt like the Simpsons episode in any way, except it felt like they had ambitious.
It was wearing a Simpsons
know?
skin suit.
Yeah, they were going for the big heist adventure mystery, the abandoned asylum, someone in the past with the mystery and the riddle, and
Yeah, yeah.
empowering feminist idea. All the pieces were there.
But the problem is nobody, I think, acted the way they
Yeah.
should have in those situations. Bart did not instantly team up with Lisa to help her solve her mystery. She ended up teaming up with Milhouse, for God's sake, like for like 2 scenes. Homer and Marge were not Homer and Marge in relation to
no.
Bart at all.
They reminded me of that episode where they're frightened of Bart's mind powers.
Mm-hmm.
Bart is running the school and the home and
the
Yeah, the
Treehouse
Treehouse
of
of Horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simpsons did it.
Totally. I think this is another one of these examples like we found last time where it's like the characters are mostly themselves, it's just their motivations are so shit.
Yeah.
And the piling on the feminism thing doesn't pay off in the end.
They're just constantly undermining it themselves.
No one kind of gets a comeuppance, and all of the kids, like Database, Martin, and Ralph, and the others, still probably hold those very anti-women in STEM views, and they don't learn any lesson at all.
Yes.
But it's weird because Database and Martin don't seem like those kind of people.
No, they'd previously been in the
previously
Super
been very
Friends with
accepting.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Did everyone else notice before Bart took the sociopath test, he tore the head off Barbie, stuck his tongue down the neck, and then poured ants in the hole?
Mm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He also was sitting on his bed with 3 soft toys and like threatening them to talk or something. I can't remember what the scene was.
Yeah. He was threatening, and this is one of the lines I hated. At one point, he says he's got the monkey, and he's like, "Sit on my banana." Didn't like.
Wow.
That's a weird thing for a child to say.
Yep, no, very uncomfortable. I think somebody needs to call docs.
But
Like-
yes or no, would you watch this again?
No,
No, that's a no from me.
the
kids.
loom says no.
No.
BT, what would you change?
So many things. I think we've all covered it. We've already written the better episode. Changed Bart's whole thing. Like, I think there's an interesting idea there about them being concerned that he's a sociopath, but just the mishandling of that is disgusting. So, and more so for Lisa's whole storyline. I hate why she gets invested in this inventor, what her invention was, how it all unfolded. Keep it as that mystery. Keep it as a Bart, Lisa discovering stuff. Those are usually pretty fun, but just so much about this needs to be redone. There's the seed of something decent, but the flowers of shit.
How about you, Jordan?
I've got a good one. Okay, so the label comes off the
Pudding can.
off
Use
the
my penknife, my good man.
jet bike, whatever, and my motocross motor. He sees sociopath. Instead of looking it up, he goes to Lisa and is like, "Lisa, what is a sociopath?" And she tells him, and like, oh, I want to get back at mum and dad so bad. I'm going to be like the most sociopathic I can. I need your help. And then they both help each other with their respective things. So Lisa is like, yeah, sure. I mean, I know that you're not, but let's have a like play around with it. And then Bart still goes to go and help Lisa, but actually help her with her helping find the lost thing.
Oh. Okay, I got it. Both asylums are the same asylum. Oh, the clue and the journal is in the asylum. He needs to act crazy and get committed in order to get in, to get the asylum, to get the journal from the asylum. So he has to be a sociopath. He has to get diagnosed in order to get the thing.
Yep.
There you go.
I was going to say something like, Bart can't even get committed despite all the, mean, twisted things he does, whereas this woman has had, an invention once, people didn't understand, they committed a bam.
And then Bart calls, sexism.
And then calling it by name makes it go away.
How about you, Claire? What would you like to change?
I'd like to watch half an hour of Grandpa, like, trying to feed strawberries to Maggie.
That sounds cute.
But he has to cut them up first.
Yes. I can't believe that's a thing for us now.
I know.
That was part of the joke, is that she's sucking on it like a pacifier.
Oh, adorable.
Funny.
Oh, cut the intro credits scenes out as well.
Yeah, that dragged on forever.
The what?
Homer making
I'm
like
gonna make
loom
the
porn.
porn. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. And yeah, that was like another ending after they already had like the Lisa
3
displaying the loom in the museum and no one was paying attention to her.
I really wanted him to, instead of doing loom porn, can't he do like the rest of us and just make it say boobs upside down?
Yeah.
Like that would have been
so
better one.
much funnier.
Because it's a calculator.
It's a calculator,
It's not a printer.
yeah.
Wait, oh yeah, he's trying to figure out which combination of numbers time multipliers to give 58008.
And then he turns the loom upside down and boobies. Yeah, it's perfect. I guess one main thing that I can change is the couch gag, which was a kitchen table gag for some fucking reason.
No
Yeah,
couch
that
in the
was strange.
couch gag.
What the fuck? Jordan, do you have any other notes?
Yeah, really quickly at the start, one of the carts is sponsored by Krusty Burger's new Sunchoke Burger. And it says underneath, we don't know what sunchokes are either.
Not bad, not bad.
Yep. Bart says banana cabana, which I just like as a thing. Now, Ralph gets scared by the contents of the diary, and he does the whole, what's a homeless guy? Unnecessary third bite. But then he says, Bart made sour juice come out of my front tail. Hated that. Hated it. Disgusting.
How did I miss that? Oh my god.
Sour juice come out of my front tail.
I know we all say that.
Yeah. And
We all say it into the mic as well.
Oh, I don't want to. Oh, I don't want to.
one thing I did actually like was a callback. Which came first, this one or the Margin Chronicles?
I don't know.
Okay, because Marge has the other volume of the Encyclopedia of Mother's Fears, which was also in the Margin Chronicles, except I think it was C to C in that one. This one was Salmonella to Squid Bites.
Oh, because this was a joke I liked. So, yeah, it's like a mini callback in the HD era.
Yeah.
Claire, do you have any other notes?
2 notes. What doesn't get you hot? Alcoholic stepfathers.
Yeah.
I did not like that joke
Wow.
at all.
Yeah.
That had a really creepy second layer that I don't think was intended, but I do not like.
It sucks because this was a kind of a good bit where they're like so scared to enter the asylum and they're trying to find other ways, and then all of a sudden, there's already a bunch
teenagers.
Yeah.
Were they saying Corky got molested by his stepfather?
Maybe.
Yeah.
of at least abused.
Jesus.
Not good. And the only other thing that just really, really bugged me was the Marge's over-explanation of sociopath. Like, it was a word that none of the audience who watched The Simpsons could ever have understood or heard of before.
Yeah.
Stop treating the audience like they're morons. Even though now anyone who watches The Simpsons, aside from us, probably is.
They're not treating us like they're morons, though. It's just they're morons at this stage.
Yeah, true.
We're no more, it's your more.
They're just morons writing what they know. I almost feel bad for them at this stage.
They had to look it up. They were like, we need Bart to be like some sort of crazy person that doesn't even care. Is there a word for that?
Is that even a thing?
Like, hey everyone, how do you pronounce this word? I believe that's okay, but I thought there'd be more E's. No.
So time for my final notes.
It's gone. It's gone, man.
God, it's time for my final notes.
What's going on?
He wants me to do a bit. When now it's time for his final notes. Elliot's final notes. Final notes.
Thank you. So the other thing that bugged me about the Lisa story was the way it just sort of passed the baton from Bart to Milhouse. Marge just pushing, play with Milhouse. And he's like, Konnichiwa.
That was nasty.
Was that because before that he said, I want to see my grandpa's collection of Japanese whatever? Okay.
Yeah. And then there's some joke about one of the Hardy Boys being gay, which was very disappointing.
Yes, agreed.
As well, when they go to Knockers and the guy's like, oh, I'm ready to help you and do anything for you. And then all of a sudden, well, I'm very busy. You got to get out of here. And it's like, he's not involved in a cover-up or anything. I don't know why he had that turn.
I think it was because he said, no, that's where we go and rewash off and maybe...
We rinse all the tomato sauce off our onion rings so we can reserve them.
That's funny.
But also, it's like, he was like, oh, do you need help finding your mom? What's her cup size?
Oh.
Yeah. That's the only way I could possibly know my own employees.
Fuck.
Makes me so angry.
My final joke that I really hated was, all right, sociopaths, stand in line in order of your medications from Adderall to Zoloft.
So was Bart in the middle because he wasn't on anything?
Isn't he on Ritalin?
Focus in.
Focus
He was in Focus, and then he switched to Ritalin.
Riddle out.
Takes me Ritalin and puffin and so he does switch to Ritalin.
Yeah.
When he can't stop fiddling.
That's right. It is time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just, you give it participant. But for the good rankings, you got okay, bronze, good, silver, excellent, gold. But for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. Now I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I'm fucking failing this one. You know...
Bravo.
Snaps for fails?
Yeah, I guess.
Beatniks. Lousy beatniks.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's so many times with failures like, okay, you can change this and it'll be good. This. But for the ones where I'm like, I'm at a loss. Jordan, what do you reckon?
I was just thinking, if you ever decide, because, HD is more often than not down the lower end of the scale, you can almost flip it around the other way and be like, for the worst of the very worst, you give them a failure, which I will also be giving. I think when your plot premise is like, hey, what if we rag on women scientists like from the get-go? Someone should probably go, hey, no, do something a bit different. I mean, some of the things you can rescue and use, but get rid of that for the starters. So I just don't think it was very good. And I didn't like it, and it made me uncomfortable in a lot of ways. So, yes, failure, please.
Claire?
Oh, yeah, for sure, failure. They just fucked it. Every single plot line that they came up with, all of which could have had, from just an idea, they could have built a couple of decent episodes. But to rebuild this, like you said, you need to tear it down to the ground and start again, because every direction they took this in just made it worse.
How about you, Danny?
I'm going to have to agree with Jordan and with Claire. This is definitely a failure.
Elliot?
I'm
What
thinking
is
about
he?
Elliot's position.
Piece of furniture to you?
I have to agree with you, Elliot.
Thanks, man.
This is a failure. There are things that I think I want to change and would improve it. I really got taken with my idea of the asylum break-in thing.
Yeah.
That was really good.
But I think that by the time I turn this into an episode that I'd be happy with, it would no longer be the same episode. I don't like the motivation for chasing down the ancient scientist. I think it should be someone from Lisa's family tree. But all the females in her lineage are smart. They're already scientists and doctors and inventors.
Yep.
So it seems weird that she's like, oh, I've never heard of female scientists in Springfield. I think that could have been a way to tie it back in together. The War Games thing cut altogether. I don't know why they crammed that in, because it didn't really add any point to it. It just kind of like had
It existed.
flashy effects for a second and then gone. I liked when Claire said we should go straight from the test to the committal. We don't have him be a psychopath for a while, or a sociopath, I'm sorry. Lots and lots and lots of things that I want to change, and by the time that it's an episode that any of us are happy with, it's not the same episode anymore. Fail.
All right, BT, finish it off.
First of all, I'd like to point out that I noticed you changed bronze to okay. So, just saying. I see what you did there. I'll keep it succinct. It's boring and the jokes aren't funny. Fail.
All right, well, this will be a unanimous failure. So that means we're giving this episode the Index Finger! And this will be joining other such Season 27 unanimous failures like
Oh, boy.
Love is in the N2O2ARCO2NEHECH4, which is like the Professor Frink love story.
Yep.
He's getting better at saying that.
Thank you.
You've done it a lot.
And yeah, some other quick fire unanimous failures. Future Drama, The Italian Bob, That 90s Show which we reviewed recently, The Devil Wears Nada, Lisa Goes Gaga, Homerland, Camp Krusty, Frink gets testy, which we did in episode 90. Oh my God, Claire's just giving me the stinkiest stink eyes.
There are some things you just can't take back, Elliot.
And showing you guys Frink gets testy was one of them. Oh, and also At Long Last Leave, which we reviewed in the 100th episode, where the Simpsons get kicked out of Springfield. Then Springfield moves 10 meters down the road.
I remember it all too well.
Now, before we move on, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
Dennis Perkins of the AV Club.
Oh, Dennis.
Dennis the Wild Card Perkins.
You always say
You said
wild
that?
card.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Take it again.
Dennis the Wild Card Perkins.
He gave this episode a B-.
Of course he did.
So this is like bronze, maybe dull bronze on their scale.
High ranking.
Yeah. The bummer here is that there are enough clever, thoughtful details in these half stories that,
Nope.
given the time to breathe and develop, they could have been much more compelling episodes of The Simpsons. As it is here, Paths of Glory goes out of its way to call attention to the slapdash way the episode is constructed, with all the Simpson family coming in for a big group hug, each rotely rattling off the reasons why they're so grateful to be back together. Like that hug, the episode itself ends in a big sloppy heap of unearned sentiment.
It really
Actually-
sounds like he failed that episode.
I know, right?
Like, that's not a bad review. Like, there's been previous times where Dennis and I needed to have words, but
He is the wild card.
I actually agree with what he said, but I don't agree with the ranking
Yeah,
he
that's
got.
not a big
Does he
Yes.
understand the alphabet?
Maybe it's Z down to A.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
In which case he hates
And for
everything.
the worst of the worst, we give them A's.
All right, guys, it's time to move on. Let's go to the teen era and find out what Bart's wants when we watch The Bart Wants What It Wants.
Oh my freaking god.
Okay.
That was as smooth craft peanut butter.
As smooth as Wild Clod.
And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 13, Episode 11, The Bart Wants What It Wants. First released in February of '02, it was directed by Michael Polcino, written by John Frink and Don Payne. In this episode, Bart meets Rania Wolfcastle's daughter, and she takes a shine to him, but he's not that interested. And then she goes for Millhouse on the rebound. Guys, what did you think?
Wasn't bad. Got some
Yeah.
chuckles.
I sort of walked into it not liking it, but I walked out quite impressed, or at least happy with it.
It is a very weird opening with a very hard right turn.
Yeah.
Oh, we're
yeah.
being chased by the International Olympic Committee in a helicopter. Oh, crap. Oh, wait, no, there's a school fair.
Yeah, that was odd.
Did that come back at all?
No.
No.
No. Okay, good. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if I missed something or not, but
Big tonal shift and no real reason for it.
This is an episode I've kind of been wanting to watch for a while unknowingly because it contains
Really?
a quote that I'm like, I always say it.
Well, let's get into that. Jordan, for better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
The quote that I'm referring to is, we play Uno, I chase you with hose, no biggie. Like I always have said, like I chase you with hose, no biggie. And I'm like, what episode is that from?
Yeah,
I kind of ask people like, I don't know. I don't think that's from The Simpsons. I'm like, I'm sure it is.
It's on your Tumblr profile, I'm pretty sure.
You have a Tumblr?
What? No.
what is
like-
the secret Tumblr
Did
profile?
I set up
okay.
the Tumblr? Fuck, did I fuck up? Oh
You know,
my god.
no, you know what? I fucked up. I meant to say fucking...
Tinder?
That's the one.
Yeah, I do play Uno, so
And chase with hose.
yeah.
Ladies.
Call in, ladies.
No biggie.
How about you, Danny? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you, for better or worse?
Look, after the last episode with all the feminism, I think what really stood out to me was her shooting down Bart and just being like, no, I'm out of here. It was a woman acting with, what's the word?
Agency.
Agency. It's a woman acting with agency, making her choices of her own free will. She didn't have a conversation with another woman about something that isn't a man, so she didn't pass the Nelson
Del
Briggs,
test.
the Big Del test.
The Big Dale test.
Del Taco test.
let's go with that one. But I still thought that was a much more mature plot as a whole.
Do you think that was just because she had 2 duds in a row?
She got the duds.
Yeah, it's hard to do the sound of what that
Oh my
face
god,
is.
all those faces just appeared around me. It was really creepy.
You don't know what to look... We're talking about internet. Go up. You got the dud on YouTube.
So yeah, you liked Greta in this episode.
I like Greta. I liked her sense of agency and individual personality. She liked Bart. Maybe that was a mistake, but she wasn't just an object of affection, a trophy, you know?
Yeah.
Was not a prize to be won.
Mighty. I like that.
Well, yeah, and that she shoots down Milhouse at the end as well, sort of leans into that, you know. I thought Canada would save our relationship. It's a good line. How about you, Claire? What is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
The first joke that actually made me genuinely laugh was they get to the fair and Homer's like, oh my God, look what they have over there. And his hand gets slapped. It's like, monkeys point. Monkeys cry. I just thought that was so cute and I really loved it.
Yeah.
Monkeys point. Whores use rouge.
What am I supposed to do?
That's the cultural dichotomy of Earth. You're either a monkey or a whore.
Which you do, point or pinch?
The unreasonable standards for women.
I tell you.
How about you, BT? What's a moment from this episode stands out to you, blah, blah, blah?
I'm going to take the other side of the coin from Danny and talk about Bart in this one. Specifically when he doesn't want Greta, and then Lisa has that whole bit about, no, you don't want her back. You just want her because someone else has her now. It's just human nature. And does a really good example with, look, Maggie's not playing with this ball, but if I take it away, turns to Bart, Bart's like, give me the ball, give me the ball.
Yeah.
It's a good joke, but it's also, then you don't feel too bad for Bart because it's not like he is crazy in love with this girl. He didn't realize it all along. He's just a 10-year-old kid who's now realized he can't have something, so he wants it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it gives him a reason to move on after the episode ends. It means Greta isn't being too unforgiving for a guy who didn't understand what he was getting into. She does turn him back when he tries to make amends. So everyone gets to walk away being a good person in this one.
Yeah.
And they all learn something, and they all drink lemonade.
I think it's also
Canadian lemonade.
Yeah, because he almost doesn't...
Fruit.
Lemonade.
That sounds like a euphemism and a half. Yeah. Because it's almost like, I almost feel like they're both in the right, almost in a way, because she assumed that they're dating, and I don't think Bart really knows that he's dating, because he sounds like, what, we're just really good friends, and this is great. Yeah.
The part where she holds his hand and he's like, what the heck are you doing? That is ridiculous.
It's really childlike though, isn't it? Like, oh, okay, you want to do a thumb war. Like, it's not that, you know,
what are you
doing?
Like me?
But she
holding
goes
my
with
hand?
that as well.
Yeah, she does it.
Yeah, but like Bart is way too worldly wise to have no idea what a girl holding his hand is.
No, I think it's just one of those dichotomies of when you're interested in someone, you pick up on every little signal and make it to be what you want it to be. And when you're not interested, everything is just cool. Like everyone's like, this is normal. Friends are friends and everything's great. So I didn't mind any of that plot line. It was actually an incredibly good, like, love-based plot line.
Yeah, I'm a bit more mixed on this episode, I think, than you guys. Yeah, I kind of thought that the love story was a bit half-baked, and like the plot turns only really came when they were sort of telling you, the audience, this is the fact. Like, Bart goes at some point, oh, we can just go back to being friends. And it's like, when was that ever what you want? Anyway.
It was what he thought was going on the entire time.
Okay.
And then, it took like someone else going like, she's really in love with you. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. He doesn't understand the kind of the emotion behind it because he's just sitting there really awkwardly when they break up. And he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you want from me? I just wanted to be friends. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say the moment from this episode that sticks out to me is the whole Canadian setting in the third act, you know.
Strange, man. That country change happened really late in the episode.
Well, I got to say, this was like all my favorite material. I was very mixed on the first two acts, but I did like this last one.
Because they played Rush the entire time.
That was not Rush.
Oh, really? It sounds a lot like them, in my defense.
Elliot's anal corner.
That was Take Off by Bob and Doug McKenzie featuring Geddy Lee.
Well, come on.
Wait, Bob and Doug McKenzie, like the comedy?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
I love the Canadian accents in this. I thought it was really cute.
They're really leaning into the whole who.
Yeah. So cutesy in their Canadianisms. And the Canadian graffiti, obey the rules.
Yeah.
I liked Paramounty as well.
Yeah.
With the obey the rules, he sprays it and then takes a moment to look at it. I really wanted him to go back and write, please, obey the rules.
Yeah, nice. I love the...
Or A.
You'll win her back, A, and B, we're closing in 10 minutes.
Yes.
There's an interesting story around this whole thing, though.
Oh, tell us, Daddy Elliot. Nope, take it back. Take it back. Way back.
Okay. Sorry, quoting from Wikipedia as well. Donate today.
That's your Wikipedia impression. Do your Wikipedia accent.
Now, we don't normally like to do this, but come on, think about how often you use Wikipedia and how often you buy coffee. Buy us a coffee. Anyway.
It's pretty good.
Because The Simpsons visit Toronto in this episode, the Fox network decided to promote it as the episode's main focus, even though Canada is not even mentioned before the third act. To help promote the episode, Fox requested that the city of Toronto declare the day that the episode first aired to be The Simpsons Day in Canada.
Fuck off.
Oh, what?
And award the Simpson family a key to the city.
Oh,
Fox requested this.
that's shit.
For we are the Fox Network, and we will have our days and our keys.
Capitulate. The word is capitulate.
Yeah, did they cede to the demands?
However,
Ooh, now we're getting into it.
Fucking demanding a day.
the request was turned down because the city does not allow for-profit companies to receive a key.
Good.
According to Al Jean, Fox's request upset Canada, and the sternly worded editorial in the Toronto Star criticized the network's ways of promoting the episode.
Oh, do you have that editorial to hand?
Yes.
The rest of the episode is just us reading it out.
I just want to see how, like, it's probably really polite and nice, but just
Sternly
firm.
worded
Yeah.
for Canadians.
I just found that a very interesting story, especially, you know, teens to late Simpsons. It's like the episodes don't draw in the crowd themselves. They have to keep doing these big event things.
Yeah, stunt
Yeah.
bullshit.
And
Yeah.
this was before it even got really bad. You know, like this was not a bad episode, and they were still having to push it so hard.
It did feel like a Simpsons episode. Oops, sorry, I spoiled her.
Well, let's get more into the questionnaire. Play count. How many times before tonight do you think you've seen this episode?
Maybe once, but I wouldn't bet my life savings on it.
Oh.
I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, I'd say I've had to have at least seen it a couple of times.
I've seen it at least once, but I would bet Danny's life savings I've seen it twice.
Ah, shit.
We're going to get that life savings.
The house always wins, Beach.
Well, give me the gold.
Wackiness. What are some wacky parts from the episode that stood out to you guys? Well, I guess the Olympic chase.
Yeah.
Beginning. I'm going to say towards the end, I like and also wackiness of just Homer. Oh, I just give up. I'm going to take a nap. Just takes a nap right on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
Lenny using the ab roller on his back, so he developed massive abs and pecs on his back.
Yeah, I got to remember that for the gifable moments of this episode, definitely. And also, Lenny and Carl had a bit of fun wackiness where they won microscopes at the fair. It's like, we can use this to further our research.
Yes, research.
And then they just start
Sword fighting.
fencing with microscopes. Fucking perfect.
I also like the Fabergé egg salad and like the really fancy like truffle Rice Krispie
Yep.
squares and stuff.
Or Nelson bullying the butler. Stop butlering yourself.
Oh, would if I could, sir.
That was so weird.
What's his name? The special guest being like, "Oh, you can have M&Ms in your fucking Rice Krispies."
Wolfgang Park, yeah.
Fucking hated this.
Yeah, I really didn't like that bit.
Why was he in this episode? And then he suddenly is in the Batmobile, the Puckmobile, I bet. And I was just like, oh, I bet the rest of the episode's about him and the Simpsons aren't in any of it. Oh, it would have been so bad. It's still,
The Lara Flynn Boyle joke was
That was
pretty
weird.
wacky.
I fucking hated this too.
Yeah. Haven't Family Guy done a Lara Flynn Boyle joke as well? Like how
Yeah,
he used
yeah.
to rent to keep her warm or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
you know what I did like? All the little Lord Fauntleroy bullies picking
Yeah.
on the girl.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, you like bullies picking on a girl? Do you? Do you?
fancy bullies? Yes.
Yeah. Retreat!
To the Hamptons.
They run off yelling tra-la-la.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I really like the bumper car scene.
Yeah?
Where everyone's just driving around like normally, and Bart gets in, he's going, "Oh, what is wrong with these people?" And he actually just bumps somebody. The airbag goes off. The
Yeah.
kid faints, and the little ambulance comes out to get
And
him.
paramedics load with the back of the ambulance. It's like, oh, good show.
Good show.
I really liked him using the Mercedes symbol as the iron
Yeah.
sights
Yeah,
of to
yeah.
come and steer into the
Nice.
thing. It was really good.
Oh, here's a wacky moment, but, you know, it was done on a film set, so you can assume there's some degree of
Yeah.
special effects, but this looked
You
like...
throw a bully into another bully.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, though I would have totally watched that movie.
What was it called again?
Undercover nerd, yeah.
Yeah, with Renya Wolfcastle playing Melvin Eugene Punymeyer.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That's a
not bad.
very nerdy name.
Yeah.
The last little wacky thing I had was Canada has a museum that they've built themselves in Canada called Dodgers of Foreign Wars
Yeah.
Museum. And I thought, yeah, it seems strange that Canada would build a museum for themselves to celebrate, or call it Dodgers of Foreign Wars, not getting involved in America's bullshit interventions kind of thing, you know?
All right,
Yeah.
so how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
I felt the, growing maturity of children through time. As they learn lessons, progress, that sort of thing.
It wasn't a really like heartfelt episode, but there are a lot of very cute moments, like Lisa trying to guide Bart through what's happening to him. You know, he rocks home late. It's like, she called, you know, she's in love with you.
That was great.
And then trying to explain, like sitting him down and going, you only want her because somebody else has her. And it was just a really nice, like, you know, even though she's the little sister, she's teaching him all the time about things, and I quite like that.
He comes home and her hair's in curlers. Like,
Yes.
Greta called.
Oh, what a
Exactly.
shot.
Apparently
And then
you were
Homer comes in
sick.
afterwards.
And where were you?
And what time do you call this?
Cockfight. Yeah.
What time is it? Cockfight.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was just sounded funny the way that rolled out there.
Yeah, it's time to cockfight. No, lost it. Never mind. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know.
win.
Like, I just felt like there was some sort of forced stakes in this as well. Especially where, like, Bart stood her up to go heckle Seymour,
Yeah,
who
that
was
was a
doing
golden opportunity, to be fair.
I don't know. I didn't like the stand-up scenes.
I think they were just a little labored.
Yeah, I didn't like the stand-up scenes, but I like now, Willie, I'm going to go do my first stand-up at
Yeah.
whatever bar. I'll give you directions from the Simpsons house.
Yeah.
I like that setup. I didn't like the actual
Yeah,
material when they
like-
got there.
I hope the audience is kind because my material is lackluster and I have that bladder thing.
Oh, see,
bladder thing.
that was another example of like, oh, that is weak. Like, I thought that they had it with The Simpsons there, but I mean, if you guys were entertained.
Well, look at Captain Oliver's now over here.
I suppose if you were entertained, it'll be enough for the masses.
I think one more heart moment though was Rainier Wolfcastle like comforting
That was
his daughter. That was really
Let
cute.
my muscles hug you.
Yeah, he's like, this is normally the time in the movie where I would go berserk. He's like, it's not a movie.
Yeah.
And like he's genuinely like, oh, poor thing.
I was expecting his muscles to do the thing that
Oh,
we
They
know
can-
that
yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
They
We
hear
know
you
his
talking
muscles
about
sound like
them.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I actually thought, like, Seymour Skinner, I didn't think his stand-up was very funny. That was the point of his stand-up, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a bit of a heart moment when they're like, why do you suck so much? And his own mom is like, you're the shit, Skinner. No, not you're the shit. You're
You are shit.
yeah. Yeah, you're shit, Skinner. And he's like, it's just my lack of confidence. I'm so sorry.
Especially because Edna Kay is in the front row of the audience. And you're
Yeah.
like, poor Skinner.
Dude.
Oh, they're
Sorry.
still together at this point as
yeah.
well.
Like, he's like awkwardly smiling and pulling in his collar and sweating and shit.
You really sympathize with Skinner, don't you? Like there is some part of you that's like, that's a little Skinner inside of me.
There's a little Skinner in all of us.
But, I mean, in a story about the heart, you know, how did you think it all played out with Bart and Greta and that whole thing?
Because they're effectively doing a story we've done before with like Bart's girlfriend or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
The fact that we're getting something different where he's just oblivious. Yeah, I mean, it's not an amazing story, but it's coherent. It's competent.
You
Yeah.
kind of do feel for Greta because she is
Yeah.
obviously really into him.
Yeah,
and
I
he
think
doesn't understand.
You as an audience can pick that up immediately. I like what you said before, where it's like there's no effective person who's right or bad guy in this one because he's just oblivious and she's read a bit too much into this. And neither
But-
of them are wrong.
I also like that the reaction with her, like, yeah, she cries and everything, but there's nothing really.
Yeah, there's no pining.
And she's not dating Milhouse just to get back at him. Like, she never says that.
Yeah.
So it's implied, like, because the boys are just fighting with each other. But she's not a bad person. She doesn't do anything shitty. You know, Milhouse isn't really even doing anything shitty.
Yeah,
like-
he doesn't
Well,
quite get it either.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you see them on dates as well, and they look like they're having fun. Like they're at the beach, they're getting their caricature done and everything. Like they seem like they're genuinely enjoying
I did
each
like
other's company.
they're getting the caricature done. It switches over to Bart hiding. The guy's drawing his caricature.
Yeah,
hiding.
like behind the bin.
Good
Yeah.
quick little reference.
But yeah, like, fuck me dead. I never want to hear Milhouse say "what's up" again. Like, I know it's the point. It's meant to be he's saying something nerdy and outdated, but oh man, it just doesn't work for me anymore.
You better not watch any later episodes of The Simpsons because I'm pretty sure he says it a couple more times.
It became like a catchphrase for him in the teens. Like, we've seen him do this, like, what, 5 times now?
But we know radical is his catchphrase. That's his thing he likes to say.
I kind of just wish with the love story, though, that we saw a bit more of Homer and Renier's blossoming friendship.
That had some more potential, yeah.
Like, I wish actually Greta and Bart's breakup was hard on Homer and him.
That would have been pretty good. Although, did they have fun? Because at one point he sends in his stunt double
Yeah.
to
I
hang
got
out
the
with them
impression that
instead.
Homer was having fun.
And there was also that scene at the basketball where he's just like, thanks for getting his front row tickets. Like, oh, I just want to make my daughter happy. And you eat the pretzels that I drop on the floor. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was a very one-sided
Yeah,
friendship.
probably.
But anyway, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah, I mean, not essential core episode or anything like that, but it was still, characters were themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, it has a bunch of throwing all the gags you can think of around school fair at the start, and then do a different plot.
Oh yeah, which incidentally we currently have a Bouncy House playlist.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we have another playlist as well.
Unintentional theme.
So that's the other weird thing, because Americans call it a moon bounce. We call it, either bounce house or jumping castle.
Yeah.
Jumping castle for sure.
Definitely Jumping Castle. I think Bounce House is American as well.
Yeah.
And also shitty college jokes as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I'll never be a gamecock.
You're going to South Carolina.
Yeah.
The worst of the Carolinas.
I felt so sorry for Lisa then. Although from that scene, actually, I really liked Skinner stealing all the stuff from the rich school. Like,
Yeah.
this is a grant,
Really?
and like broke through the
That
window.
felt
and
so
everything.
out of character to me.
I hated this.
No way, because he's always pinching things. He stole petrol from one of the other buses, like in one of the early
Yeah.
seasons and stuff. That's
don't
not
know.
beyond
when it
him.
comes to the school, he will lie, cheat, and steal.
I don't know, but just an outright B&E, that
Yeah.
doesn't seem like his style.
Where do you think all the fancy equipment for this room came from?
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember buying it. You remembered wrong.
I thought by B&E you meant Ben and Elliot.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what you tell,
times.
and that's what you tell the police. Remember?
The thing that did feel like Skinner was when Lisa is looking in like, oh my God, the periodic table of elements is 250 things. And he goes, yeah, doesn't it just honk you off? Like, that's such a Skinner thing to say. Yeah.
Honk. Yeah, I guess I've got no real problem with the character integrity of this episode all up, though. Like, it is a very Bart thing, I'll admit that to be so oblivious and then thinking they could just go on with a friendship and then to get jealous afterwards.
The episode did start with Homer having stolen the Olympic torch and being in a getaway chase from a helicopter that was shooting at them, I think, and Marge being like, oh, he does this every 4 years for the Olympics.
Yeah.
They'll teach them to preempt my shows. Funny.
Dad, your favorite shows will be coming right back after this cartoon.
And for them just to go, look, hey, a fair. Like,
I'm bored.
Why not
hey,
just-
fair.
I feel like that was almost intentional with the way. Look, we're changing subject completely now. Yeah.
Was it Homer that said, I'm bored, before he said, look affair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. That was the writers saying, we're bored.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of one of my problems with this episode. Even though I liked some of the gags from the fair and from Canada, it just felt like two sketch shows bookending this half-baked love story.
That's true.
In my opinion. Yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Non-committed, yeah.
I don't, but, if you guys want to watch it again, you're going to put it in a playlist?
I don't? Would you watch this again? I don't.
Would you want to?
Would you want this
don't.
again?
So,
To watch this again.
I don't want to.
Fuck all of y'all. Okay, fair enough. Feel better now. I feel better now.
Who's stealing your
that's
thoughts?
so going to watch it again, you're going to put it in a playlist. What playlist does this belong in?
Shitty college jokes.
Yeah.
But relationships.
Moon bounce. Bouncing.
Bounce houses.
Bands that aren't Rush.
With members of Rush in them.
That's getting specific.
McBain.
Yay.
Rainier Wolfcastle's other movies where he's not McBain.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Ooh.
Or Sergeant Murder. Simpsons go to because it technically is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they do. They go to Canada. This is the first of 3 times they visit
Really?
the Mapled Isle.
The Maple Dial.
The old maple polar bear.
Is that what you call yourselves, Canada? Right in.
They go back to Canada in season 16's Midnight RX when they're smuggling in cheap drugs from over the border.
Yep.
And they also go back for the Winter Olympics when Homer and Marge become an Olympic curling team.
Oh, yeah, that one. You liked that one, didn't you?
I love that one.
Yeah.
So, BT, what would you change?
I hadn't thought about this at all. Some things, I suppose.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Good
it's one of the ones
answer.
where there's nothing like horribly wrong with it, and so there's not a massive plot point I want to change. It'd just be little bits and pieces here and there, little tweaks, little extra laughters. I would make it way funnier.
Nice.
Just constantly.
Good idea,
Yeah,
actually.
like just 120% funnier.
With like jokes and gags?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's what I would do to change it.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Funny stuff.
I'd also put a vampire in the background,
Just always.
just the Montreal vampire.
How about you, Danny? What would you like to change?
I would definitely scrap the Olympics at the start. I probably would scrap the school as a place for them to meet. The school fair seems just like a time filler. I'd find some other way to kind of introduce her and probably McBain. I'm not sure what I want exactly, but I want something.
How about you, Claire? What would you like to change?
There's nothing like significantly wrong with it. There's a few jokes that you could omit, like the Olympics part was pretty much unnecessary entirely. And yeah, you could have expanded maybe a bit more on the relationship between Greta and Bart, or Milhouse and Greta, like put more into that to like make it a little bit more emotional, I suppose, a little bit more high stakes. But it's just a nice, pleasant, average filler episode of The Simpsons. Nothing wrong with it, but again, not one of the top ones. So I'm fine with the way it is.
I can't feel on it, yeah.
How about you, Jordan? What would you like to change?
It's hard to think about. Yeah, you're right. It is fairly plain. The only thing I was thinking of was maybe like the breaking point in Bart and Greta's relationship being, hey, my dad's filming in Canada, make it school holidays or something. Do you want to come with me? And so they get to Canada earlier. Bart takes Milhouse with him as well because she thought it was going to be like, hey, a nice like dating getaway or whatever. And instead he brings Milhouse and that kind of drives them apart or something. I don't really know how it would work properly. I think the fact that they do shove all the Canadian stuff in at the end after doing it at the start, like we said, makes it seem weird. But if it had been halfway through or like a bit earlier in the episode, it might have been a bit more organic.
Yeah.
Actually, that brings up the one plot point that I think was kind of unnecessary, was the whole fact that he bailed on the dance, but there was no real consequences of that.
Yes.
So, he bailed on the dance. He comes home late. And Greta's there because she's brought him over something because he said he was sick, and she wanted to make him feel better.
Nice.
Then everything comes to a head nice and quick. We don't need the extra ice cream scene. We have a reason for him to bail on the dance and get consequences for doing so. And that would just tie things in a little bit neater. And also, maybe Bart would learn a bit more of a lesson as well.
Yeah. And then you've got the thing of, it's not just that he was oblivious, he also lied to her as well.
Exactly.
Look, what I'd change about this episode. Look, going through this, it's like, I think each scene actually does have something I like and some stuff that I don't like. So I kind of wish, Canada maybe came up in the episode earlier, even if Bart's sort of going along with the dating and they're like, oh, we want to bring you and your family to Canada with me. I couldn't stand being apart from you. And like Bart sneaks in Milhouse as well to sort of break that up. And that's when all that stuff is playing out.
Oh, you're like, Greta's nice, but she's kind of boring. Milhouse, can you come along with me?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, or that Milhouse actually proves himself a little more adept at understanding women. I mean, he's still a bit of a pest and a creep, but the fact that maybe like Greta starts seeing Milhouse as more viable option, and that how
I feel like they could have gone with the triangle thing where like Milhouse likes her and she likes Bart and Bart likes Milhouse.
Everybody likes Milhouse.
But it's been done,
Yeah.
I'm pretty over love triangles as a plot point in anything, not just The Simpsons, but in literally anything. So I'm really happy when they avoid that, even though this could have easily been a love triangle. And there have been plenty of times where Bart and Milhouse have fallen for the same girl. So I liked that the plot avoided that quite nicely. And they did fight at the end, but it wasn't because of anything that she did or anything that anyone was really doing wrong. It was just a little scuffle.
Yeah. Guest stars of the episode. We already mentioned Wolfgang Puck. Who played Greta?
Don't know.
Angus Young.
Someone old.
Probably a girl.
Probably a girl, yes. Claire's on the right track.
Yes.
Damn, you're good at this.
She does have a boy's name, though.
Cameron Diaz.
Oh, wait, I think
Nice.
I know.
Jesse Owens.
Billy
Idol.
Jesse Owens. 1932 Olympic champion, Jesse Owens.
All right.
Taylor Swift.
No, she has a boy's name, and she also has a bit of cutlery.
Oh, Reese with a spoon.
Nice.
What about Reese without a spoon?
Bob Knife, did you say?
I love that movie.
Johnny Fork. Oh, shit.
And the Oscar goes to
Bob. No.
I'd like to thank everyone.
George Cauldron.
Yeah, she did a fine job.
Yeah, I think the problem is with actors who are not professional voice actors. She didn't do like a really good like kids voice, so it still sounded like
normal people,
Yeah.
not
adult
like cartoon people.
Yeah.
But I think that this is more of a Simpsons issue and a direction issue than it is a voice actor issue, because I feel like the longer the Simpsons ran on, the more the kids became teenagers and then the kids became young adults and they stopped behaving like children.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because apart from the main cast, like Meryl Streep has still been one of the best ever to do like a proper kid's voice, and all the rest it's like you see like Paul Rudd or the others like, why is this weird old teenager hanging out and pretending to be a 12-year-old? It's really
Fellow
strange.
kids.
Yeah, like they have an episode with Zach Galifianakis later in the HD era, and it's just like he's not even trying. It's just like that's an adult in a kid drawing. Like it's weird. All right, final stretch. Danny, do you have any other notes?
Yeah. I quite liked that the director's commentary for Itchy and Scratchy was Itchy and Scratchy.
Yeah.
That was really cute.
I think it's interesting, and I don't know if other people actually do it. With director's commentaries ever have a P&P where you actually see the directors talking?
Must have been done sometimes, but I'm assuming it got cut because you don't need it.
Okay.
It was an old feature in a lot of early DVDs because, like, I mean, that was the thing with DVD. You could do all these things and, like, you could usually access it with the angle button. But, I mean, much like showing alternate angles with the DVD, they just stopped doing that because people never used it.
Yeah, that's fair.
How about you, Jordan? Any other notes?
Got a couple of anal corners real quick.
Couple of anal corners! Real quick.
At the very start, when Homer, like, because you can see the bunnies on the road, and you're like, there's going to be a car coming over that hill very soon. Only Homer is in the car in that first shot when he ramps the thing, but then obviously the whole family is in there.
Well, they got teleported down from the Star Trek Enterprise.
Yep.
Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
Star Trek Enterprise.
Yes, that's the one. Homer bids for an item on behalf of Flanders to screw him for $50. Turns out to be a $100 bill.
Yep.
The person hands it to Ned, but it clearly says $50 on the note.
Oh, maybe they already took the payment.
But that it said you're bidding on a $100 bill.
If you bought a $100 bill and they gave you a $50, that's not giving you the item you just bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
Ooh, true.
Yeah.
How do you thumb war with opposing hands?
I don't know. Let's try it right now.
Okay.
See? And that's the
Doesn't make sense.
and that's the animation problem that they had because one of their hands was curled up and the other one was just like hovering on the outside.
Yeah.
This was not a fair thumb war.
No, it's
I've got to
very
go back and
unreal.
I don't wanna
when
go
is
back to
war
rewatch
ever
it.
fair?
Yeah, it's true. They say when they go to Undercover Nerd and they drop off the tram and go into it says closed set, but the door is clearly open. Terrible.
So the set is closed, but the door is open,
Yeah,
man.
but
It's
you
not
close
hard.
set, you've got to have like all the light and the sound taken care of.
It's Canadian closed. It's
That's
always
true.
open.
Last thing was when they roll onto the curling rink, they say, "Oh, we got a couple of Yankee blah 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 something. They're doodling the way over there." How'd they know? How'd they know they were American?
They were fighting.
Oh, yeah. Canadians would be fighting.
Good
Woo!
answer.
Great answer.
All right, that's all my anal corners.
That's all the anal corners.
All the corners.
How about you, BT? Any other notes?
Just two. Homer's advice on girls is don't give them nicknames like Dumbo or Boxcar and always get receipts. You look professional that way.
I thought it was Jumbo.
Oh, they're both pretty bad.
Yeah, don't do that either.
I like Boxcar. And the other one is a great little pal-port of the Arnold Schwarzenegger eyes. Remember when I said I'd eat you last?
Oh, yeah.
I lied. That eats
I
the
love
pie.
that.
That's funny
So
because,
Butch.
he's eating his dessert before his dinner. That's a funny setup for
That's
that.
Commando, isn't it?
It's time for my final notes.
What are you going to tell us, Elliot?
I'm giving a sin for the no cliche at the start with the Olympic helicopter.
You've really got to sell your no.
Yeah.
That's how you get your next job.
Yeah.
I like how the, I don't know, lady at the private school or whatever is giving the tour. It's like, and this is where Calling All Coeds was filmed. It's like, oh, is that where Boozer peed in the fountain? Yes, one of the places.
Yeah.
Good joke. Weird joke from Skinner. Welcome to Dick Cheney's America.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty dark, wasn't it?
Bleak.
Apparently, this was actually changed from Welcome to George W. Bush's America.
Wow.
Well,
Why-
yeah,
why
because it
change it?
really was Dick, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's time to ram a lamb these ding-dongs. Pretty good. Lisa really knows her sausages.
Yeah, for a
does.
vegetarian.
Yeah.
You got to know your enemy.
Especially since Marge already admitted that she doesn't know what offals ended up in what,
Intestinal tract.
intestinal casing. Yeah, exactly. So they're basically just miscellaneous at this point.
Yeah. I thought that was a bit weird.
I'm assuming your next line quote is the, "Oh, I see your daughter is one of those whale kissing
Oh my
whatever
God, that was
moon
great.
maidens."
Whale kissing moon maiden.
Yeah.
I hate it at the bar where Mo goes, people tell me I can do a good Macaulay Culkin, and then it just like stops on his face for like 14 seconds too long.
Agreed.
I timed it.
Yes.
It went for 14 seconds.
Too long.
Again, with the stand-up bit, they kept interjecting with the Seinfeld bass line for some reason,
Yep.
with like a weird
Yep.
pal port.
They went a bit heavy on that.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit on the nose. I really hated the Wiggum and Lou breakup scene in the ice cream parlor, and I liked how it started. It's just they dragged it out for so long.
I do like because it goes from, there are a lot of breakups happening. It's like, why are you quitting the force?
Yeah.
But then it went, it's because I'm fat, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where it went wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
It felt like that setup was going to go to like a few different breakups, and I would have liked to see like a trio of breakup gags there.
Yeah, just really short, quick. Why are you quitting the force?
Yeah. I kind of like the joke about Homer, don't run out in the streets. Okay, they got free healthcare here. He gets hit. I'm rich. It was just a nice scene transition, I thought.
Yeah,
like
but
zooming
like
into his
pupil
pupil.
zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not rich. He's just covered.
Yeah, that's...
America doesn't understand like healthcare.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I feel like that's the joke that, an American's perception of Canadian healthcare is like, oh, now you've just taken this person that can't stand on their own 2 feet and you're giving them $1 million.
Yeah, it's not like America where you just get to sue a bunch of people.
Yeah.
You just get taken care of.
Then you don't need to sue.
Americans, GoFundMe is like your biggest insurance provider.
Yeah.
Honestly, get your shit together.
Yeah, what was it? JTE was on there recently.
Yeah, that's
shit,
right.
Yeah.
Previous guest as well. I was going to mention in the podcast, but they met their goal. So
Yeah, no, I contributed.
Oh, good on you, man. Yeah. JTA got in an unfortunate motorcycle accident, needed like some serious mouth surgery, and they had to reach out to GoFundMe to help him out with
That's
this.
crazy because
so
there are
much.
2 people who work full time and they still can't afford health cover. Your system is fucked.
Fucking oath. And my final note is I didn't like the basketball scene either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, you nearly made it, eh? We've dragged this bit out a bit now, haven't
Who
we?
can be our starting point guard? Because Canadians are bad at basketball. Eh?
The bit of shitting on Canadians that I kind of liked was when it's like, hey, we're closing in 5 minutes. Like, oh, would a single US dollar change your mind? He goes, American currency. When would you like your breakfast, sir?
Yeah, that wasn't bad. All right, it's time to rank this thing. BT.
Yeah, look, it's not a stellar episode, but I have a good enough time, so that's good enough for a bronze. It is okay.
How about you, Claire?
Okay, I haven't really decided because I was actually thinking maybe a silver, but I think it's just too bland to be a silver. But at the same time, there's nothing I didn't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you come back to me?
How about you, Jordan?
I was thinking about other things I've rated bronze, and I think I like this a little more than most of those. So I think I would give it a silver. That's also just because I guess maybe there's a little bit of nostalgia and finally remembering, this is that episode of the quote I like. So I'm happy with a silver. It's kind of in the middle. It's not excellent, but I don't think it's just okay. I like it a little more than that. So silver.
How about you, Danny?
I'm somewhere between bronze and silver. I kind of like what they did with the episode. It had feelings and heart, sort of. I felt like Bart not objectifying a girl and not understanding relationships and feeling like he grows. It felt like an episode with at least the illusion of depth.
Mm.
I remember walking away from it being kind of happy, but I remember at the start of it, I was like, oh, yeah, bronze. That's not the noise of silver.
Claire?
I think I'm just in a good mood, so I'll give it a silver.
Wow.
Maybe like if I watched it in a worse mood, I'd give it a bronze. I think that's literally the tipping point. It's just my own personal feelings.
All right.
Sorry.
Danny, kick her in the shins. She can watch it again.
No, I was thinking of the deciding vote. Ooh.
And then you give me like a really nice coffee, but let it go lukewarm, and I watch it a third time, and we take an average.
I'm going participant.
Wow, yeah.
I'll admit it's on the border. I liked a lot of jokes in this, and I certainly liked it a lot more than a lot of things that I've ranked participant. But yeah, I don't have a lot of love for this one, and I don't really want to watch it again.
Fine.
All right, this will average out into being a shiny bronze. This will be joining another shiny bronze from season 13, Sweets and Sour Marge, which we reviewed a while ago. That's when Marge tries to have sugar banned.
Yeah, I feel roughly about the same on this one, actually.
Special Edna, which we reviewed last week in our All Skinner and Krabappel special.
Aw.
And some other shiny bronzes. What have we got here? No Loan Again Naturally, when Ned Flanders buys the Simpson home and he becomes their landlord.
Yeah.
I like that episode. Saga of Carl, when we find out some stuff about Carl's origins.
The epic fail, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was another one where the losers wrote the history where they were the losers. They wrote the story where it turns out they were the bad guys who were cowardly, but they wrote the story about how cowardly they were in the history books.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about how the Canadian Museum wouldn't have
Right, yeah.
Cowardly Canadian Museum.
And also it'll be joining Springfield Splendor, which is a season 29 episode I quite liked. Barthood, which we reviewed all the way back in episode 1.
I was back there the other day. We were drunk.
Yeah, we were so drunk. And also a couple of classic era episodes, Simpson Tide and Natural Born Kisses. So we hit another interesting milestone today.
Ooh.
Well, what's that?
See, BT, Jordan, and Danny, this is a milestone you've all already hit before.
Oh.
Now, Claire, you have
She's listening.
after today.
You won a car!
Yay!
We can't back that up.
I can't drive.
Check under your seat.
So you have now reviewed at least one episode from every season, from seasons 1 to 29 now.
Oh, yay!
Hey!
Yay!
It only took me 2 years and a bit.
Well, to be honest, like, you've actually doubled up on a lot of seasons by now. I actually just didn't notice until the other day I was doing some inventory. I was like, oh, you haven't done season 27 or 13 yet.
That's okay. I know I'm your favorite and you give me all the good seasons.
That's right. So well done for that.
None of that
Thanks,
HD
Elliot.
rubbish for Claire.
Far too much of it.
All right, guys, it is time to go to the classic era.
Yay.
Bum, bum, bum,
Now-
bum.
I know I say SideQuest Studios, but what you might not know, listener, that half of this studio is converted from a...
Music studio?
Garage?
That's a
House.
pretty fancy word.
Oh!
Hey, love it.
Yay!
We'll be reviewing the
He's great. He's great at this.
We'll be reviewing the Springfield Connection. We'll be right back.
Yay.
And we are back, and we just watched our final classic episode for the evening. And this was Season 6, Episode 23, The Springfield Connection. First released in May of 95, directed by Mark Kirtland, written by John Collier. In this episode, you all know this one. This is the one where Marge becomes a cop. Guys, what'd you think?
This is
Smashing.
fucking
Smashing.
sick.
It's a really good episode.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Marge episodes.
Yeah.
And just, I want to peel this Band-Aid right off. Way to, like, make comments on fucking sexism in society way more eloquently than the first episode we watched today.
And the second one.
And not undermining your own message, you know? Like, it was pointed out, but Marge stood up for herself.
Yeah.
She fought for what she wanted, and most people actually backed her. Homer
Yeah.
was being a bit of a dick, but, like, even he kind of learned a lesson as well, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Everyone grew.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's not... It kind of showed Marge just, like, putting up with it, which is a lot
Yeah,
of kind of,
yeah.
like, powerful women have to do, essentially. If,
Fighting the patriarchy.
yeah, like a
when
man
she-
going, oh, honey, please, like, you know.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh. All right, let's get into it. How about, we'll start with you, Claire. For better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
Oh.
I know. How do you choose,
So hard
right?
to pick one. I really like when they're doing the police officer training, you know, like, you know, it takes more than one day to become a cop. It's a full weekend of training. And that one guy is like, who cares about the badge? Give me my freaking gun.
Hey, I told you, you don't get your gun until you tell me your name.
I've had it up to here with your rules. I love it. I just love it because it's those little, like, quiet pot shots that the
Yeah.
Simpsons used to take without pointing at it. You know, like, it's shitting all over America's gun laws. Like, all he had to do was give his name, and he's clearly insane, and Wiggum would have given him a gun.
And cops as well, yeah. Oh, this ain't that easy. A full weekend, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it's not pointed at, it's not made a big deal of, and it's not undermined by them backing out of their own joke
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But how about you, Danny? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
Okay. Probably the big one that stands out is when she walks into the police station and says, "I'd like to be a police officer," and the patriarchy is just like, I can keep on going for a while.
Well, yeah, it
Welcome
does go
aboard.
for like 20
It goes
seconds.
on and on. And then there's just the flat deadpan.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I really like because for a while you feel like it's gonna be they're gonna be like punching down kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then it's like no, they just laugh at it and then they're over it immediately. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, so they get to have the cake and eat it
Yeah,
too, you
because
know?
the cops themselves don't really give Marge a hard time at all.
No.
Joining up. You do have that quick line of women can don't ever handle the wall, never seem to find a door.
And
Oh,
I
that's
just like that because even that joke, it's not a punching down joke
Yeah.
in the sense that, you know, she's actually doing what you would
Yeah.
expect to do in difficult
Well,
training, you know?
Same
Yeah.
with a little bit later on the shooting range. Mr. Baby, Mr. Blind Man.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a good part.
Yeah, the wall door, like, it is just so surreal as well. Like, why do they have door training in this?
Yeah.
Like, it's excellent. But yeah, that laughing bit as well. Like, I think it's also sold again at the end when they do it again when she quits.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's shot in a classic way that is demeaning and belittling, and it gets to have that response and that sort of instantly you associate with how small Marge must feel. Says a white man.
What I like about it, though, is that it does cut back to her, and she's not frowning and going like, "Oh, I hate this."
Yeah.
She's just
She
kind of
doesn't
like
chicken out.
She's
She waits it
pleasant.
out.
Just
She's
waiting
just
for it to
smiling,
go.
kind of gently going, "Yep, whenever you're done," and then
Yep.
There's a ha. Sorry to see you go.
Yeah. And that's nice as well,
Yeah, I
that
know.
they're like, oh, sorry to lose you, Simpsons. It's like,
It's a great way to get to reset to zero as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Jordan, so how about you? For better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
I think that the joke, the joke that stands out to me the most is when Marge she's kind of downtrodden and looking at all the people in the world who are committing crimes, and it's like, where do I draw the line? Because everything is usually a crime, and so what do I do? It's like, that person's walking the dog without a leash and parks across 3 handicapped spaces. And the immediate thought that came to me, because we've been watching a lot of Steven Universe, is Homer is a clod. Like, just...
you clod!
And the fact that
Horse without a diaper.
it's that great scene where Homer just does not expect his wife to arrest him and is belittling her in public, and she takes a stand. She's into this and she's not going to take any more crap, and that's the point where she's like, no,
He's so
this
entitled.
is like, this is not acceptable, and I'm going to do my job.
There's a great moment where when she's telling him off, she has a really great stance of authority and
Yeah.
like action. And
She
it's
really
very,
takes
very
us
simple,
with
but
the
it's
whole
just-
body, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
exactly. And it's one of those great how you can have a visual moment that sells that, that backs that up completely.
I really, like you were talking about her stance, it was also really, really good to show. Like, they really showed rather than told how uncomfortable she was about the whole situation. She was really embarrassed.
Yeah, cuts
And
when-
she didn't know what to do. Like, there was a few seconds where she's just looking around
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, what do I do here?
Yeah, when he first takes her hat and she's like, I have to lay down the law here.
And there's
Yeah.
like a crowd forming. And
Yeah.
Especially because he calls her my little piglet as
Oh,
well.
God.
Yeah. Although I did like, we've talked about this before, Dan Castellaneta doing Julie Kavner doing Marge. Like, it's a really hard thing to do.
Marge, I'm going to arrest you. Like, yeah, I love this as well because, like, almost Homer's. This is kind of the same disdain that he'd have for normal cops anyway, and he's like, "Oh, my wife's a cop. I can have extra fun with this."
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
get that in the earlier scene where he's using her pepper spray as a condiment. Incapacitating.
The speed camera,
Yeah.
the police tape.
Or, using all the privileges of being a
Yeah.
cop and talking about how great it is and everything
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
And even when she comes in, she's like, illegal gambling. And they all leave really quickly and uncomfortably. And he's like, oh, you chased away my poker buddies. And she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And it's like, at that point, she knew he was doing something wrong, but she didn't have that reason to stand up to him.
That's right. And also in the scene where she's busting him at the Quickie Mart, it's like she does give him leeway. Now just hang out here. I'm just going to buy some beer for those kids over there.
Pretend like I didn't hear that.
Watch the car in case a real cop comes past.
Yeah. Fuck you, Homer.
Yeah,
Like,
fuck off, man.
How about you, BT? What is a moment from this episode stands out to you better or worse?
I'm going to go for worse because a lot of this is going to be praise. So the opening scene when they're walking through the alleyway after the concert that, I mean, John Williams would be spinning in his grave.
so good.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but no,
John.
in that scene, Marge's pearls are white, not red for some
I
reason.
did notice that.
Yeah.
And then
BT's anal quarter.
BTAC.
yes, welcome to the BTAC. And also there is dark-haired Wiggum in the opening and closing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to
Yeah.
play out. Yeah.
Yeah, which is just, it's interesting that like one or the other per episode, maybe there's the occasional mistake, but the fact that it changes is really weird.
Especially since he was such a
Yeah.
relatively major part of this
Yeah.
episode, you'd think they'd get it right.
At
Yeah.
the very end, he was black-haired as well.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do really like that Marge's homemaker days is what saves the day in the end. You know, every mother knows the secret entrance to her son's treehouse, and you
Yeah.
know the shoddy stitching. I don't think he's getting away. You know,
Yeah. That's actually a really good point. I've never thought about that. That's interesting.
well, you know, buying pants for 3 children and a full-seated husband is left over the 6 cents.
Full-seated husband.
Although, just quickly on that, I do love Marge, how did I know the pants were going to rip? No, what I was going to ask as well. It goes on to explain something else.
And there's no explanation as to how she knew that there was something going on in the garage. Like, perfect.
Well, that's actually what I'm going to say sticks out to me from this episode, and it's not exactly for better or worse. It's just I didn't actually remember like how quickly this whole counterfeit gene subplot actually unfolded.
Yeah,
Because
It
we
agreed.
get
rolls
a
out and
little-
wraps up, doesn't it?
Yeah, because we get like a little bit of shadiness from Herman earlier in the episode, but then
Just
like
going out for some fresh air.
it sure likes his fresh air. None of that for me though. And you know what hacking sounds like. But yeah, the counterfeit gene story just all unfolds within that one scene at the end. Like it feels rushed, but I don't know. Like,
It's a packed episode.
yeah.
There's so much going on.
I know what you mean, because in my mind, that was a bigger part of the episode.
Yep.
But I think it was just enough. Like, it's all it needed to be. We just needed Marge to have a win, essentially.
That's it. We didn't need a complex story about the pants didn't matter.
Like, because it was short, it was a funny joke
Yeah.
as well. If they'd dragged it out, it would have been way too much, like, way too serious for such a stupid plot line, really.
Also,
Yeah.
I mean, then you have to answer the question of how do they not know? Like, they park their car in the garage
Yeah.
usually. You know? How do they not see it happening more? And
The entire crates of counterfeit jeans.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And I'm just trying to like apply the same filter that I usually, funnel the HD and Teens era episodes through, just sort of pointing out, yeah, that was probably a little bit rushed, but I mean, fuck it. I'm having too much of a good time when I'm watching this.
Yeah, I feel like that's not the point of the episode, though. The cop action isn't what the episode's about. It's about
Yeah.
the character growth, It's just set against the backdrop of a cop drama.
Yeah. And, that combined with what Beach was saying, it's already a crowded episode to
Yeah.
have like an underlying plot of like Marge trying to break open the counterfeit jeans conspiracy.
For
Yeah.
real,
It
man.
would have been too much.
Yeah.
So, play count. How many times before tonight have you watched this episode?
Ooh, a crate full of counterfeit jeans.
many.
1 billion times.
Oh, at least a whole weekend's worth.
Yeah, I think I've watched it 501 times.
I don't get it.
Oh, because the Levi's.
501s,
Yeah,
yeah.
good one. Good one.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
assuming I shop for pants often enough to know that.
We shop only for counterfeit jeans here, Elliot. We don't have that kind of Levi's money.
Levies. Levi's levies.
Yeah.
Monies that you took. No, you know what? Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I
got it.
actually, sorry, I just really thought that I'd been pronouncing it wrong my whole life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like how I used to pronounce Nike instead of Nike.
A levy is like a tax of money that you take someone.
I
So your
understand
Levi
the
levies
joke.
is your...
She just
Wait,
assumed
wait.
she was wrong.
What's the definition of patronizing? Tell us that now.
Actually, it's funny you should ask that because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
What about that song When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin? That's about when your jeans split, right?
Yeah.
Broke your
Yes.
chair.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I just broke your chair.
Oh, did you?
It's the levy split. Oh, fuck.
Oh, my $10 Kmart camping chair.
You
Now
know, gets you
that's
your
a
next
no.
job.
That's
Gets you
a
your
no.
next job.
How about some of the wacky moments of this episode?
Okay, Marge has the sharpest knife in the world because when she's cutting the celery, she's just like tapping the
Tapping it.
knife and
Yeah.
it's just
Good
phew,
chunk.
amazing.
It's pretty exciting, right?
Yeah. I mean, celery soup, it's
about-
where it's at.
How about some of them wacky magazines?
Oh,
Sponge and vacuum.
Glass
Jet
it.
Sports.
Sponge and vacuum.
I like
Mosh
the bear
pitter.
baiting one
Yeah.
as well.
Glass Eater and Mosh Pitter.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
So this is another weird moment in there where we meet this character that we've never seen again. That gives her the issue of Sponge and Vacuum. Thanks, Benevan Stanchiano. Like,
Yeah, it's great because it establishes a lot about Kamaja's character without doing a lot.
Yeah.
Not only does she know this guy well enough that he's probably got like a special order in, he knows her magazine. She has a working relationship with her news agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has she been buying sponge and vacuum?
Yeah.
She knows the full name of the news
Or,
agent.
well, she probably asks him, like, is the new sponge and vacuum in yet? And he's
That's a
like,
that
very
was
nice.
a great Marge.
Exactly. But that just establishes, how well as her as just a homemaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really spells it out.
I mean, very much along with all celery soup's pretty exciting too.
but yeah, when we did the podcast with Pods in the Key of Springfield, James brought this up as a reference that the name alone is really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot which one we were talking about at the time that reminded him of this one. But yeah, it's Benevan Stanchiano and Joey John Julia Shebadu and all that. Yeah.
Good old Benevan Stanchiano. Oh, what about Homer? You have the right to remain silent.
I
Choose to wave that right.
Oh, man.
was
I'd
great.
only get arrested just to do that.
Yeah, it's either that or the Monty Pythons. Now we see the violence inherent in the system. Help, help, I'm being oppressed.
Yeah.
So other wacky moments?
Marge trying to get her energy and lust for life back, switching to deviled ham and things like that. And then she does the push off and rides the trolley all
She's
the way
so
down,
fucking cute.
jumps off it, and it just gets absorbed by that giant cheese.
Just
She sort of
walks
walks away.
Yes.
I love this
Nobody saw
moment
that.
because who doesn't have these moments in the supermarket where you fucked up a little and then you just walk away from the
Oh,
problem?
yeah, where you drop a jar of something and you're like, I didn't see nothing. Walk away.
Even today, it wasn't my fault, but I picked up a bag of bread rolls and the bag was split and all of them just dropped out and I'm like, putting the bag back, grab the bag I want and walking away quickly.
Oh, you guys are scum compared to Krusty.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you haven't broken something in a
Hey,
supermarket?
he
never
means
report-
compared to Krusty.
My other favorite one that I've done in a supermarket. So I've got a lot of these stories.
I bet you do.
I had the eggs at the bottom of the basket, and then I
no.
put something really heavy on top,
no.
and then I'm getting to the checkout, and I'm like, "What's this thing dripping from my basket?"
You're just dripping yolk everywhere as you go.
Yep,
You hear the it's like some little old lady stacks it behind you.
yep. Dropped the basket,
wow.
left the store, went to a different supermarket.
That little old lady was only 2 days from retirement.
Retiring from
That
being
works.
a little old lady.
Yes, it's a full-time job.
Wacky moments.
Yes, Homer eats Hans Molman's last meal.
Yeah.
And then in the next
and
scene, the lights flicker, implying the
God.
electric chair has gone off.
That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, I always thought that was an animation fuck up or something.
No.
No. It's very
Hans
dark.
fucking
Molman fried.
Brilliant.
He's
That
a
whole
fried peanut
scene
now.
is so dark, but
Yeah.
so funny.
Well, if that's the
Really
worst
perfect.
thing that happens to you today, then you can count
Are
yourself
you
lucky.
really allowed to execute people in a local prison?
There's no more
No
talking from
from
now
this point
on.
on.
Honestly, that line of Reverend Lovejoy's "worst thing today, consider yourself lucky."
Yeah.
That's comes into my head. Just appreciate stuff. But yeah,
There's something I want to say at work all the time when people are like, oh, this has gone up by $1. Well, if that's the worst thing that happens to you today, consider yourself lucky.
but I just
sorry, you-
I have a Jordan Zaynal corner.
Oh. Elliot edition.
So Homer's eating Molman's last meal in a different cell to Molman.
Yep.
How did the meal get over to him?
He's like, oh, for me.
It was just delivered to the
yeah,
wrong cell.
definitely.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, you'd explain that.
Did
I
someone
like-
order a slice of raspberry tort and
Lobster tails.
lobster
and,
tails?
Yeah.
Did anyone order this?
Molman has good taste, though.
Yeah, for real.
Raspberry tort.
Imagine the horrible crimes he committed.
Yeah,
to
what
be
the
kicked
fuck
off.
did he do?
I can totally picture him just being in the wrong place, wrong time.
yeah.
though.
Oh, yeah.
Or there's Springfield it's just shitty laws. It's like, oh, you did this one obscure thing that is really worth nothing. And
Yeah.
that
Your
is
horse
death
wasn't-
penalty.
Your
Wasn't
horse-
wearing a diaper. Hey!
Wackiness.
Yeah, the cops parody with the inflatable bath pillow. I think that's very wacky.
And then when he says, I want my face blurred, and they just blur it from that point on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bastards. All right, I have one really wacky line, which I think we'll all love, and it's the not so fast. And he goes, okay.
Okay.
And he starts walking. Perhaps you should just stop entirely.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Just really playing with the tropes. So
Yeah.
much fun.
Oh, I forgot about the wacky bit at the start where they're going to the concert, like the orchestra on the hill or whatever, and it's the sign that says Medfly spraying 8 p.m., concert at 8:15, second spraying 8:30. You're like, oh god, they're all gonna die.
And then Homer's like, ugh, could that bassoon have come in any later?
Da, 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 da.
Oh, how delightfully satirical! I wonder if everybody got that.
Oh, God.
Oh, Dr.
Fucking
Hibbert.
gatekeeping musical pretentious wankers, man.
Yeah.
I had to think about it. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Okay.
No, twinkle, twinkle. I'm really lucky that Hibbert pointed that out. Otherwise, that would have really gone over my head.
You know when you hate something because you see yourself in it?
Like a mirror?
Tell me about your musical degree again. Oh, my God. Give this man a cigar.
I'm imagining Elliot now just go through that.
So, look, we'll probably get into more wacky moments, but how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
Plenty of bumps.
Yeah.
One little moment I really liked was when Lisa is asking Marge about how did you catch the baddie, Mum?
Yeah.
And she's
She's-
looking up with these eyes
yeah.
just filled with pride
She's
for her
been
mum, the
inspired.
badass.
She's been so inspired.
Yeah, was it the most exhilarating thing you've ever done in your life? Oh, maybe, but celery soup's pretty exciting too.
But yeah, Lisa is just so excited and
Lisa's
so proud
really
of her
learned
mum.
that women can be
Yeah.
a power in the
She's like, wow,
workforce.
My mum is like an idol or something for me that, like, because often there are plays on Lisa like, oh, I don't want to end up like Mum.
Yeah.
I don't want to be just a homemaker.
Yeah.
And now she's got something that she's like, wow, this is really exciting for me.
Yeah, she's defending herself, catching a criminal.
And they also had it was played as a joke, but even a moment with Bart later where he's like, wow, Mom, I never really thought of you as an authority figure.
Oh my
Which
gosh.
totally undermined her every other time of,
this-
the
yeah.
year. But this time he was like, wow, like, well done, Mom.
Clearly, there's the big heart between Homer's undermining of her and stuff. But I really liked the intro scene where, like, she's going, he's getting away, and all the bystanders are just bystanding, and she's
Yeah.
like, isn't someone gonna do something?
Yeah.
That's like such a big effect of the human psyche. There've been studies done about this.
Yeah,
and
it's
Now
like-
it's Marge's time to shine.
If we do nothing together,
Yeah.
then no
And
one
then she
can be
just
blamed.
bolts at
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
and boom, goes after him, and then suddenly they're in the dark alley, and he turns around, and she's like, oh shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
I've actually cornered a guy with a knife. And there's this look of fear in her
Panic,
eyes, and
yeah.
she panics, and she kind of, like, her arms come up in nervously, and she's like, I'll have you know that ordinary people can sometimes have a moment of
And then she smacks him across the face and, see, I told you.
But I thought that was a really powerful, emotive moment for her, you know?
And just speaking on heart, I also like there's little bits of Homer's like, now be careful out there. You've become very dear to me.
Yeah.
Oh, well-intentioned Homer.
I also really like when he catches up with him. Yeah, you still got the out of breath joke.
Yeah.
Then you got the, yes, it is thrilling to see the police get their man and save a hysterical woman.
Oh.
But it's like he's just playing oblivious at this point. He doesn't know what she's done. It's just
Yeah.
like, easy, baby, Homer's here.
I even like at the end, I mean, I feel like this was a genuine moment of heart that wasn't really played for comedy, which was where they're in the treehouse and Homer's being, held kidnapped. And he's genuinely so worried. Like he's trying to get away to warn Marge to not come up the stairs, like the ladder
When
of
he
the
first gets
treehouse.
kidnapped, he's like, sell the jeans and live like a queen.
Too late for me, Marge.
You caught him. I'm really glad you're a cop. He got away. You blew it, Marge. Fucking
You
turning on
asshole.
the dope. Yeah. But, there is heart all behind it. And
Yeah.
you feel like they've grown from this experience as well. But ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I under oath? Then yes.
Marge trying a new thing and it causing conflict in their marriage. Definite Simpsons trope.
Her looking for agency and self
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something more.
fulfillment.
Yeah.
Lisa looking for like female role models.
Yeah.
Although I like that it didn't come because she felt like, oh, my life is just the home. There was something that happened that
Gave her a
pushed it to-
taste of adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly.
I also really liked that Marge was still very true to character, even though she was a cop.
Yeah.
Unlike, for example, the bodybuilding episode where she becomes a completely
Yeah.
different
He
person.
becomes
Yes.
a psycho.
And like a really mean person as
Yeah.
well. This one, she was still really sweet throughout the whole thing. She was still like doing her first beat in Junkie Town, like
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
really like
Saying
happy
hello
about
to
it.
people.
Yeah.
And like her anal retentive attention to order and rules and details. She's like seeing law breaking everywhere.
You can't ride that Class 9 vehicle without the padding and
That's so Marge.
yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
It wasn't her throwing her power around in any way. Like, especially when Apu offers her the bribe. Like, she's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not taking that. But she's not like angry at him, really. She's just like, don't be stupid. I would never do something like that.
Yeah.
I though do like at the start how she's like, okay, how much? 100, 200? She's like 200 and starts reaching for it. Like, wait, no.
Yeah, if someone just offers you money, you'd be like, yeah, sure, wait a second.
This scene is so perfect as well. Like, out of all the characters, they have Mr. Burns walking by. Not only does he snatch the money, but he's also drinking out of the carton of the milk at the time. It is fucking
I just love his,
genius.
ooh, snatch.
They both turn around and go,
That's
better.
Yeah, like those are such good points about Marge. Like, yeah, being a police officer would just be playing into being an authority figure and following the list of rules set by society to enrich society. And, she quits when she sees the amount of corruption.
And I really like, on that note, I love Lisa is like looking up to her. She's so supportive of her, but she does, when she's doing the tour of the police house station. Police house?
The old police house.
A new movie coming out now.
Police house.
When she's doing the tour of the police station, Lisa sort of calls her out and is just
Yeah.
like, oh, Mum, I know you're really well-intentioned, but you are aware that this is just a force to uphold the wealthy elite. And isn't there a better way of going about this than just jamming people into overcrowded
Shouldn't
prisons?
we be working to overthrow the corrupt capitalist
Yeah.
Look,
society?
Lisa, it's McGriff. Hello, Lisa. Help me fight crime.
And then Lisa just like walks away. He's like, never mind.
Well, yeah.
And Marge as well clearly knows. She's like, I don't have the right answer for this 8-year-old.
But I do have a
real.
puppet.
But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yes.
In a heartbeat.
Yep, anytime.
Yes, I would, Kent.
Yeah, fucking oath. I'm going to watch it again. You're going to watch it again. We're going to put it in a playlist. What playlist do we put this in?
Inflatable bath
Bath.
pillow.
Yep.
The inflatable bath pillow playlist.
Marge Jobs. Joms? Let me tell that again.
Jackie Jumps.
Shut up. Marge Jobs.
Definitely. While they're showing you Steven Universe, you got to make them watch 30 Rock.
I did try. I picked a couple of my favorite season 3 episodes to try and convince them. I did.
Oh.
I'm sorry. It just doesn't gel with me. It's not bad.
I know.
Oh, we'll get you eventually. All right, more playlists.
March with her hair down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Margie, let your hair hang down.
Did you guys notice that
She
she
looked
had?
super foxy in that police
Oh my-
uniform.
yeah.
Freaking God, I noticed.
Come on.
They didn't
Oh
have my
my
shirt, but
God,
you get the
I
idea.
Hey, Marge, not here. Wait, you're not really arresting me.
Did you guys notice that she had her hair down when she was a cop? She took a day off and stayed on the couch reading a magazine. She bothered putting her hair up again.
Well, no, I think it just sits up because she puts her cap down on it and it forces it back behind the
Because
cap.
of the bunny ears.
Ah.
Other playlists, Herman playlists.
Yeah.
Because he shows up unexpectedly after like season 1.
And Hans Moleman playlists.
Yep.
The death of Hans Mole.
So
One of the many,
episodes,
yeah.
Crime-solving playlists.
Yeah,
Crime-solving
yeah.
generally.
People thinking someone in the Flanders family is dead. Because no. Because there's the Rear Window episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the real estate episode
Yep.
where they're covered
Yes,
in red
yes.
whatever.
Red room.
Yeah, but not the actual one where someone dies. But
Well, that
everyone where they
counts.
think Flanders'
Where
family
they
is dead.
think someone is dead. Yes.
I'll put this in the sketchy Mo's backstory episode as well. Momar.
X-Nay on the Omar, mate.
Oh man, Lionel Hutz.
Oh,
yeah.
guest star of the episode.
There we
Phil
go.
Hartman. My goodness.
God bless.
You look in there, you'll be breaching client dumpster confidentiality. So good.
Attorney dumpster.
Oh, that's sorry.
It would be a
Fucked it
dirty
up.
dumpster.
Oh, yeah, because the dumpster is the client.
That's correct. Yeah.
Of course.
He's a bit of a dumpster himself. Like, he's a terrible attorney.
And then the second she's gone, he throws the lighter in there. Oh man.
Just JD. Fuck, I miss Phil Hartman. God damn it.
Yeah.
Musical moments. So they use a bit of like music influenced by a show called Hill Street Blues, which
Yeah.
is like a cop
Yep.
drama-ish show. But it was that sort of eloquent thing where they sort of morphed both things together, and
Yeah.
especially with the outro music. That's just
Inspired by
beautiful.
rather than parodying.
Yeah.
They also used John Williams
Oh, of course.
and Mozart,
And Twinkle Twinkle, which I believe actually wasn't written by Mozart.
wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
me.
Twinkle Twinkle was apparently written by
Yeah,
Mozart.
Twinkle Twinkle's written by
But
Mozart.
it wasn't Twinkle Twinkle at the time. It was like the Surprise Symphony or something.
Yeah, 30 variations on a theme or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Also, that is the Baba Black Sheep and the Alphabet Song and a couple of others.
And Johnny, yes, Papa.
Yes.
Watching Simpsons?
Yes, Papa.
Giving reviews. Yes, Papa.
Let's rank this thing.
Open your mouth. BT, do you have any other notes?
One is simply easy money.
Nice.
And the background grumble of, you give 3-carb Monty a bad name.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so good.
Yep.
I think they're related or possibly in cahoots. Like, dude, you totally won again.
Way to go, bro. I really,
Oh, sorry, just on that moment as well, Simpsons ruined my brain. I always think of Snake going, bye-bye.
Yeah. Yes.
Just that.
bye.
Because it's kind of like the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snake has the best bye.
Bye-byes, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the pizza misdirect when they go into the police stations. We got we think you're pretty hot, huh? Well, we've got everything we need on you.
Everything we
Want
need
a piece
on
of
you.
him.
So genius.
And when Marge and Homer kiss after having the, but that makes you the man of the house. And that makes me the woman of the house, which I have no interest in, except occasionally wearing the underwear, which, as we discussed, is strictly a comfort thing. And then they kiss, and he does the leg lift.
Yeah.
What is the leg lift? Claire, do you leg lift?
Have you never kissed a woman so passionately one of her legs lifted off the ground?
I'm obviously not
Are
kissing
you asking
right then.
Claire or Elliot?
Pequeña los dos.
It's a dainty thing because it's like raising your pinky finger when you drink tea.
I think it's supposed to come from like girls who are shorter than their guys, so they go up on their tiptoes.
Right.
And like one leg sort of comes up a little bit anyway, like because you're sort of standing on your tiptoes. You know, like when you reach for like something on a shelf.
You stand up
and
on one
you
leg
stand
to
up
do
and you
it.
sort of stand up on one leg to kind of
Yeah,
balance
okay.
yourself. So I
Right.
think that's where it comes from. But me being like
Potentially.
5'9" means that I don't have to do that very often.
Hey.
The question my dad has always wondered, which is, how did Herman, when he's carrying both a gun and Homer, climb the tree to get into the tree house?
Well, I think because
Yeah.
he had Homer
Yeah.
in a headlock.
he has
Yep.
one arm.
Yeah, but he's really strong. So we had him in a
No,
headlock. So
he
kind of-
has-
his chin was in the crook of his elbow, and
Yep.
so he was climbing like that.
How is he
Or
holding?
just
How is he holding the
swinging by
gun?
chin.
He also
Has
held
the
the gun
gun in his
with like
hand,
one
Homer
pinky
in the
through the
crook.
trigger, and he's
No, no,
holding
no.
using his thumb and forefinger.
I reckon he just like told Homer to climb
Oh, yeah,
ahead
that's
of him
entirely possible as
and
well.
had
Oh.
the gun underneath him.
Yeah, he
Well,
does have a gun.
yeah.
He's like, climb that.
Yeah.
That's always entertained my dad, and I kind of feel like that's actually a bit of a joke the
Solid
writers are
point.
throwing in without
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
pointing
Yeah.
to it.
Good.
And finally, and I can't believe we didn't mention it yet, garage. Ooh la dee da, Mr. Frenchman, a garage.
So
Thank you.
I've used that before where someone messaged me something like fancy, and all I had to do was send the screen cap of Mo with his fingers doing ooh la la. Like, okay, I get it.
And sorry, because it's like, not having a proper
on audio
cadence
medium.
finish on returning to the tonic feeling in my head right now, unless I say, a car hold.
Yes.
So I actually had a debate with some friends a while ago where they thought it was car hole, not car hold.
Oh, interesting.
I thought it was car hole.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
it was
thought it was
car
whole.
hole with an.
Oh, maybe
like,
it was
with
you
an
guys
E.
that I was debating
Yeah, I'm
with.
pretty sure it's whole.
I think it's
'Cause-
whole because it's more like ghetto.
Yeah,
All right.
that's like
Because you put your car in the car hole.
the joke is like how unelegant he is.
Yeah.
Oh, garage, la di da. What do you call it? Just put your food in your food hole. You put your car in your car hole.
Yeah, because car hold sounds like it's a
Almost-
shipping thing.
Yeah,
like
it's
you put
almost
it in the
cool.
hold.
Very technical.
Are you live Frankie yanking this?
Of course I am.
Okay.
There's a Reddit debating it as well.
Really?
Get out of
It's definitely
town.
whole.
All right, Frinkiac says hole.
Yeah,
Yeah, most thing I'm
it's
finding
whole.
is saying hole. Yeah.
Wow, I just thought it was hold.
But that's not a funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's where you
That's
hold
like-
your cars. That's
So now we
fine.
can just go back to debating whether Homer was talking about someone else throwing a shoe or whether he's just talking about Hank Scorpio throwing a shoe that he's just seen.
Oh, this debate again. We'll get to that when we cover You Only Move Twice.
Great.
How about you, Jordan? Any other notes?
Yeah, we talked about the three-card Monty scene, but I can't believe that we didn't say that I love that Marge says, "How dare you prey on the greedy and stupid like
like
this?"
Oh,
Yeah.
and one of the crowd guys goes, "You're sullying the fine reputation of three-card Monty."
Beach already said that.
Yeah, but he did it with more passion.
Yeah, it's true.
Damn it.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I
some
love
good
how
passion there.
she's like she knows exactly what Homer is.
Yeah.
Just completely
Prey on the greedy and
dismembering
stupid.
him.
Yeah.
I did like at the breakfast scene on her first day of being a cop. Everyone else is eating breakfast. She's having donuts and coffee.
Oh,
I miss that.
man, beautiful. Nice
Well
touch.
done. Good pick.
I like Edna's line of like everyone's complaining about something, and Edna goes, "I can't go to the library anymore. Everybody stinks."
Another Jordan's anal corner.
Yes, go.
Daniel Corner.
Elliot edition.
Mo says my roots don't stay so chestnut on their own.
Yeah, they've never been.
His hair is grey.
Yeah.
Chestnut's like a type of brown, isn't it?
It
Yes.
is.
Well, just his roots, though.
The roots, man. The roots.
So
Yeah, but they'll
That's
grow
extra
out
weird.
eventually.
He
And-
just stains the roots.
Yeah, but then
Brown.
they'll grow out, and they'll have brown in the middle of, and then the tip of his hair eventually.
Nah, he washes that out.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Homer drawing the line down the, in quotes, center of the house. He just
not
baits
say
himself
that?
into the corner.
A la I Love Lucy. Is that an I Love Lucy bit?
I think so. I miss this in the wackiness, but I like the fact that they're laughing about the counterfeit jeans operation, and Homer goes, "Herman, I just had to come in and see what everyone was laughing about," and immediately twigs,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, a counterfeit jeans operation!"
Yes.
I'm running out of my car hole.
Oh,
In my
fuck.
car hole.
I did. Oh, fuck. That is so good. I never thought about that. That is really good.
Oh, Homer is learning. He picks it up quick.
How about you, Claire? Any other notes?
there's like another instance of The Simpsons shitting on Police Academy. When Marge joined the Police Academy, I thought it'd be really fun and entertaining, like that movie Spaceballs.
Yeah.
But instead it was painful and disturbing, like that movie Police Academy.
Love it.
That's funny.
So good.
And my other point is, I never picked up on this in any of the other hundreds and hundreds of times I've watched this episode, but at the end where Herman's got the ambulance and he's getting taken away, you hear Grandpa Simpson going, "That's my ambulance. I called for it 4 hours ago."
Because we do know he's there to just take Maggie for a stroll.
Any other notes, Danny?
I actually do have 2 points I wanted to mention, which I'm sure you would have been mentioning in a second anyway. One was I really like the throwback / foreshadowing of the gun shootout sequence.
Yep.
It was played really well as a joke the first time. It wasn't just there to foreshadow the later part with Wiggum being like, well, you didn't shoot the blind guy or the lady or the baby. I thought that was really funny by itself, good enough for a training montage. And then when she comes back to the final climax where they're having a big chase scene, and suddenly here she is, and it's just like training all over again. I love that as well, that she is, all her training is coming out to play. Here I am in the real thing.
I liked the shot of like, it was a first person,
Yeah.
of her like tracking the gun. It was really cool.
And
Like Doom.
The Carl Urban movie. Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Milhouse pops out from behind the shrub, and then he like slowly goes back behind the shrub again, and Grandpa crosses and everything. Yeah.
A friend of mine in primary school hated that because he just didn't get. Why would Milhouse just be around in the backyard at night? It's like, because it's a joke.
That's the point. That's the joke. It's funny.
Yeah, but Grandpa's just taking a baby for a while. Like,
Your
because
old
that's
friend
the
would be
bit.
the kind of person that really liked HD Simpsons.
Yeah, because it all makes sense because they explain it 3 times.
And the other thing I really wanted to mention was how amazingly realistic Homer's panting was in the first scene, where he's doing like the gulping sort
You
of
really
noise.
feel it in your chest.
Yeah.
I wonder if he just did a bunch of jumping jacks in the studio and was like, oh.
That's swallowing. And then he gets out of the car later on and he's still going. Oh my God, I love it. I really felt that one.
Home Run Fit playlist, because the boxing one as well.
Yes.
Just give me a minute.
Oh, yeah. And he's like running a marathon at some point. And it's like, oh, second wind. Third wind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time for my final notes.
Final notes.
I'm going to be back on the street in 24 hours.
I'll try to make it 12.
It's like, Wiggum's almost saying, sorry to inconvenience you in that way. What's the big deal? I just borrowed your nail clipper.
You did what?
That great lead in.
Such a fucking great misdirect.
Yeah.
I love the radar gun joke as well. Hey, what could be coming at 100 miles per...
Oh, so good.
It doesn't make sense because the amount of time he would have had to say that.
Yeah.
But... don't let the Jordan Zadel corner
He
get
did
in
a
the
couple
way.
of practice swings
No,
first.
maybe it was a pullback. Like, it's really fast.
He took a run up.
Yeah.
Nice.
You are the cleaner of pots, the sewer of buttons, and the unplugger of hairy clogs.
But this time, what? I'm cleaning up the streets. I'm sewing up the fabric of our
Society,
society.
yeah.
And I'm unplugging the...
Clogs in our legal system.
That's right.
You're cooking what for dinner? So good.
Oh God.
And my final note, and just because I'm a lover of puns, looks like somebody's embarking up the wrong tree.
Oh yes.
Yes.
You're not a villain until you do a shitty pun.
Oh, yeah.
Take note, villains. It's time to rank this thing. Who's first? Danny's first this time.
I believe I will give this a Quebec Zirconia.
Ooh.
This one has it all for me. I think this is really like heartfelt. It's really empowering for Marge and for Lisa looking up to Marge. It's really like a great example of Homer the dickhead being entitled and like selfish and treating Marge as just an excuse for him to be able to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And then he learns a lesson and she fucking stands up to him, and there's so much good in this episode and very little bad.
How about you, Claire?
I agree. It's a cubic zirconia because I think it's an essential Marge episode. There aren't that many episodes that really develop her character, I think, really well throughout the whole episode, and this is definitely up the top there. And I also agree. It's Homer the jerk, but because he learns his lesson, because he gets a comeuppance, it balances out, you know?
You don't end up hating him the same way you do in some episodes.
Well, you don't end up feeling like he never understood or he never learnt what he did wrong.
Yeah.
You feel like he actually learned from it, and that she called him out on it. He
Yeah.
didn't learn from
Watching her stand up.
some other completely separate entity. She stood up to him. She taught him the lesson, and she saved his ass. So it was very, very positive for Marge. So yeah, love it.
BT?
I was sitting on a gold for a long time. Like, this is so close. If something just gives it a nudge, I might trip over into cubic zirconia territory. And I think Claire's statement that this is such an essential Marge episode, really, I think that got that over the line. So I'm going to go cubic zirconia, because it's not as jam-packed as we've seen some episodes be. And that's, I've said before that a cubic zirconia should be the ones where you can't believe how good it is. I can believe how good this is, but it's still really, really, really good. And I do really like the story and the subtle ways it gives you character and nuance and how it moves things along in ways that are funny, and that how you can bury the lead of a ending joke in a training montage. So yeah, I will go a cubic zirconia, but if someone says something to detract, I may take a step back. Hey, it's only fair.
How dare we?
Yeah, look, I'm going cubic as well. I recognize there are some things in this episode that maybe I'd criticize if it was a HD era episode, like, you know, the drawn out laughing gags or the drawn out Homer panting gag, oh, who's fat, you know. But I don't know. I think this episode says so much in so many subtle ways, and in this conversation, so much of that subtlety has been brought to the surface for me. So, like, I think I've come into this chat and been raised up a bit more about it. It's cubic for me. How about you, Jordan? Finish it off.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to say anything too different from what everyone else has said. I think it's a cubic zirconia. I love episodes where Marge kicks ass. This and Brush with Greatness, I think, are kind of similar in that way, and that she stands up and she earns the respect of not just her family but the town. Not that they don't respect her, but she does something that is she becomes a hero of the day. And I love those kind of episodes where they kind of allow her to transcend her just pretty mundane life otherwise. So yeah, this is essential for me, and God, I'm a big Marge fan, so this is essential to me.
To Marge!
To Marge! All right, so this will be a unanimous cubic zirconia.
Woo! Square root of 9 cheers for us.
Fuck off.
This will be the 8th unanimous cubic zirconia from season 6.
Wow.
It'll also be joining
season.
other season 6 episodes: Treehouse of Horror 5, Grandpa versus Sexual Inadequacy,
Nice.
Homer the Great, the Stonecutters episode.
Nice.
Who ranks these episodes cubic zirconia? We do. 2001 Greyhounds. The PTA disbands.
The PTA is disbanded.
Don't jump out the window. Fuck. Lemon of Troy and Who Shot Mr. Burns Part 1.
Wow.
Which we also reviewed together.
What
in
a season.
other time we did the 5-some episodes.
The time of the season for Simpsons.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, guys. Well, that about does it for the Simpsons Index tonight. Thank you very much for joining me in SideQuest Studios. Let's get out of here. That's been Jordan Frost.
It sure has.
That's his catchphrase. That's been Clare RR.
Bye.
That's been Danny Rosewell.
I'm Danny Rosewell.
And BT Calloway.
If I am a figment of your imagination, I never leave.
And I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
Coming out of
Thank you,
SideQuest
cup
Studios. God damn it.
Sorry.
I've suddenly come down with the case of the sneezy sniffles.
Uh-oh.
Sneezy sniffles? It's when you're sneezy and, well, it speaks for itself, really.
You're like a dog with his ear flipped out, Mom, help me!
Flip.
Ah!
Oh, thank God, I thought I was going to be deformed for life.
You mean you're not?
More so.
Alright, it was too easy.
Yeah.
So, what are some other wacky elements that stood out to you?
Look.
I always say that. Fucking stuck.
It stuck out.
Okay.
I was going to ask Elliot, you've got your ranking sheet down the bottom there. Can you change it to JCBD? Because it's JCVD.
I don't know what that is.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It's Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Who needs another drink?
Easy, Chewy.
That's the sort of joke that gets your arms pulled off.
You should write for The Simpsons.
Oh, man.
Ow.
There are some things you can't take back.
That's the worst thing that someone's ever said to me.
But ultimately, though, guys, did this feel...
Do you feel?
Do you feel?
Feel eyes. doing flaming lips. Anyway.
You got more of a Kings of Leon thing going on.
I got to
at the
hire
moment.
him in my
He
band.
really does.
Yeah.
Ow, my sex is on fire!
We don't need no water. Let the motherfucker
You should
burn.
see a doctor. I feel like that's Milhouse's bit, though. Like, even his
Milhouse.
grandmother, Milhouse. Milhouse's bit.
Milhouse.
That's like when
Milady.
people say Malay.
Milhouse.
Yeah. Malay.
Bart, Milhouse. But even his grandmother, like, shits on him all the time. So,
Incidentally, I've had a background check. They found nothing. So
Yeah, that's good.
Well done.
They weren't looking hard enough, obviously.
Clearly.
Well, we've checked your background and we found this tumbleweed, so it looks like you're all right.
Good. The tumbleweed knows everything. Don't put him on the stand.
What would you like to say about the defendant?
How do you spell that?
WHHHHHHO.
Well, I've got a surprise witness. Crickets.
And she's
oh, sorry. No,
no,
you
no, no.
Go.
No.
Okay. I really, like,
Changes.
Turn and face the strange.
Time may change me.
But I can't change time.
That is a total, like, karaoke black hole, that song. It's
Why?
like everyone knows the chorus, but
Yeah.
try and do
The
the
rest of it,
verses.
I have
I'm
no
like,
idea.
no idea. Absolutely no clue.
Oh, it goes, packed my bags last night, pre-flight.
0 hour, 9 a.m.
Are we doing Bowie or Dylan?
David Dylan. Dylan, you
Packed
son
my
of a
bags
bitch.
last night, pre-flight.
And the times they are a-changing.
Singing some song in the style of Dylan was weirdly funny the other day. What was it?
So much fun, man.
Ghost of perdition.
Lingering days.
When Rebecca Black's Friday first came out,
Oh, Friday.
someone did like a pretty note perfect Dylan cover of it, right?
In that the notes weren't perfect.
You
This is
know,
just
well,
Dylan.
yeah, exactly. There was a lot of like a, you know, the start of a like a Pee Wee 50 revving, but they had a screenshot of like a record playing, which looked like vintage of Bob Dylan Friday, and they were talking all about in the comments like, yeah, my mum used to, you know, sing this to me and stuff like as a kid, and it was amazing, and people were falling for it like, oh my god, I didn't realize this was a Dylan cover, and yeah.
In hell.
And his blue house and his blue Corvette, and he ain't got nobody to listen to.
Ooh, wow, what a
Nice.
Yesterday was Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quick, Claire, what's the most meaningless song we pretend is a meaningful Dylan song?
I'm a
Call
baby
Me Maybe.
girl,
Oh,
I'm a
no, I've got
baby
it.
girl.
I don't want to meet a ghost. That's the side that I
I
feel
feel
most.
most rather have a piece of toast and watch
The evening
news.
news. Yeah.
What?
That's
Life
Desiree
by
Life.
Desiree.
Oh, life. Oh, life.
It's terrible.
In
That sounds
England, it won like the worst song ever written.
good. It's fucking up there,
Deserved
man.
it.